There we go. Hello, Peanut. I'm sure this will be totally objective and not at all fucking weird, considering how many factors go into this game. But I think it'll be a good time. Let's open up the little character thingy here while we're at it. That's probably good to know. Probably good to have. How you doing, Peanut? What's up? How's it going? You know the funny part about this is, like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. Stop making interesting content. You know, that's very nice. I'm sorry. I will see. We'll see. I think this will be a good time. The funny thing about this is, like, this looks normal, right? But it's like the Homer Simpson with everything clipped to the back. Because to get this to look even remotely normal, I had to get rid of, like, the 100 Uma that are not out on globals. Like, this looks like a regular tier list. Then you see all this. Holy shit! Look at this, man. Look at this shit, man. It's like genuinely, like 3/4 of the, like, there's like 4 times as many Uma out on JP as there are on global, which is nuts. We're ignoring those obviously because that not only will they be releasing in different metas, but I know nothing about them. Pretty good. Got the gold master for the first time. Nice. Check the short clip and haunts. Sure. What's going on here? What are we clipping? Oh, she's moving. Guten Appetit, by the way. Why is the UI different? What is this? Oh, what the fuck? Why is everything so choppy? It's like Ogre just suddenly got, like, nerf late surgers now. So true. We have like 60-ish Umas in global right now. How many? That's a good point. How many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 28, 42, 56, and then 67. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, I can't escape? It's literally 67? There's 67 Uma out on global with fucking Metro. Yeah, sure, man. Whatever. Let's make a fucking tier list, man. I'm sick of this shit. Okay, so obviously, just there are some disclaimers that need to be put out before we do something like this, right? One, this is the first time I'm gonna be thinking about a lot of these Uma, right? Obviously, there's like very meta-relevant ones like Summer Maru, Valentine Bourbon, Christmas Ogre, right? Like Narita Taishin, shit like that. But for a lot of the ones that don't pop up as much, this is going to be partially. I'm doing this as an exploration to try and familiarize myself more so with the entire cast of Umamusume that are there. So we're going to be, like, figuring this out on the go a little bit. I think it's just a more fun way to try and learn than to just sit there and read all of them, is to try and compare them against each other. Now, as far as trying to make an actual tier list out of this, obviously, this is a meta or Oshi tier list. This is going to be a tier list of trying to rank how good they are, right? At the end of the day, I'm not gonna look you in the eyes and tell you that your Oshi is garbage. That's, you know, like if you really fuck with anyone, you can make it work in this chungus ass video game, right? But this is going to be an attempt to rank them by, like, generally how often are you going to be happy that you have this Uma on your account? You know what I mean? Like, how good are they overall? Of course, this is really hard to do because, you know, maybe they're really good, but they have sprint G, so they're like worthless in a sprint CM, or, you know, they can't run on dirt tracks or something. So there's going to be definitely a bit of hand waving of some stuff going on here, but that's something we'll take into account. Generally, to me, a strong Uma has a strong aptitude spread, right? Good stat growths, a powerful ult that either is directly a win condition or is, like, critical for activating whatever win condition your position might be running in, right? With a good kit of skills, because even, yeah, I've said this before, but I think that easy to build Umas, it's not just like oh, you know, if you're a baby, you don't want to put in effort, go run the easy to build Umas. No. Like, Umas that come with everything you need out of the box will let you create a stronger ace because you don't have to gimp your deck trying to put in particular skill hints or, like, bringing worse parents because you don't have the best of everything, all of that, right? So Umas that have good kits of skills, good ults, good stat spreads, good aptitudes. I will say one thing that I don't think we're going to do is
this person is
I am kind of going to I'm going to assume that essentially all all positions are as good as each other. You know what I mean? You could probably make some arguments that's not necessarily true, but over the course of like all CMs and stuff like that, I'm going to assume that there is no real benefits to being a front runner versus a pace chaser versus a late surger versus an end closer, right? Just because that would get into more a comparison of the individual positions and not the individual horses, right? At the end of the day, this is going to kind of be like, how good are you at your primary role, more so. Yeah. We'll get into it more as we go, but I think that's a decent little starter there. Also, Brownie and Buttresses, by the way, thank you very much for the 2 months. No ads on mobile, uninterrupted, funny words. No, indeed. As far as the tiers, we might not need all of these, honestly. This is just Eclipse first to the rest nowhere is just, you know, a cool name for a top tier, I think. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like, oh, the best horse of every position or anything like that. It's just more so it's going to be, I mean, you could probably guess a lot of the ones in here already. These are the ones that generally define a lot of the metas of a lot of the CMs around themselves, right? Notably, if a horse is like an amazing parent, but not a super good ace, I might give them some slight bonus points here. Right, I'm gonna give them some slight bonus points, but it's not really good. Parent viability is not going to be a huge part of this, right? So this is just like really strong. This is everything that I just mentioned. Usually like a great aptitude spread, good stat growth to whatever position or length they usually run, good ultimate to great ultimate, good skills to great skills, right? All of that in one package, you'll find something here. Just great is just great, right? Just they're very good. They're not necessarily maybe quite as meta defining as the ones above them, but they're still just incredibly strong and can win. Now, yes, Vayne is calling me out on 3 great tiers but no mid, because this is basically, I think there are a lot of horses that fit into these 2 tiers where they are very strong, but you have to do a lot of hand-holding to get them there, maybe, right? They don't have a lot of what they need baseline, but they have like a really good ult or something, right? So if you do all of that extra work, you'll get something good. I say great, but hard to build. This is kind of mid, right? It is much better when you are great and you just have everything. Yes? So like these 2 are kind of mid tiers, but I felt like I needed to differentiate both of them. Great, but hard to build, as in, if you have the cards, if you have everything, you can get a good end result out of it, but they would still just be straight up stronger, and you would more consistently get a good ace, which means with time-limited champions meeting prep, you would get a better ace overall if you didn't have to jump through all these hoops to build them. They add lots of layers of RNG to your run. Yes? Great, but highly situational. I think this is worse, personally. I think this is like... An example of this is like someone who's really good on sprints only, or dirts only, or something like that, you know? I'm not gonna say that, yeah, the game is very biased. The game is very heavily biased, right? Out of like 60 CMs, it's like 4 of them are dirt CMs and 4 of them are sprint CMs, man, right? If you're like really good, but you have like A sprint and like F everything else or something, that's not so good. If you can only run on dirt, that's not probably so good, right? Depends on how, like, you know, if you have like turf D or something, that's not really real, right? It's like if you have like turf G, we can start talking. But in those very limited situations, or maybe you need like an extremely particular lobby composition to thrive, right? Like maybe if there is 1 or 2 of another position, it kind of locks you out of what you're doing, right? Or maybe you need the entire team. Well, this one will be the entire team built around you. But yeah, this is like there are very certain situations, but those situations come up, and when they do, you'll be great. Underwhelming is just there are some Uma that just don't. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about, right? I'll tell you right now, my guess is that Special Week probably goes here. They're not awful. It's not like you're not handicapping yourself by bringing them, but they just kind of have nothing going for them necessarily, right? And then Oshi PvP, I mean, this is probably, like, Haru probably goes here, right? Haru probably goes here. I don't know. We'll see. This is like, at the end of the day, your support cards, the nice thing about this game is that at the end of the day, your support cards and your builds and your knowledge of the game, and your decision-making during the builds and your RNG when the builds happen in the races matter a lot more than what horse you bring, but certainly there are some where you're doing it because you love them. You are handicapping yourself actively by competitive strength-wise by bringing these Uma into CMs, right? They basically don't have a niche, right? There's like nothing that they're the best at. There's nothing that they're even particularly good at. right? It's a tough one. I'm not sure how many people are going to be in here. This might be the Haru tier, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, and we'll maybe I have too many tiers here. It's kind of what I just thought of ahead of time. Without further ado, though, we have like 2 hours and 45 minutes to do this, and I do want to actually give everyone a decent shake. So let's just get into it. Otherwise, we'll never finish here. Special week, right? Special week. So this is original special week. Obviously, we're gonna do all the different outfits differently, right? Special week is primarily a pace chaser or a late surger. You could run her end, theoretically. Again, if you have 10 sparks is E, right? E, and then you would go, yeah, D, C, B, A, yeah. So if you have E or higher, it works, right? It really is only once you get down to F or lower in something that it starts to be like a real stretch, right? It starts to be a real stretch to have them run that. So Special Week is a medium and long Uma. She can absolutely run miles as well, and she's a pace and late surger primarily, right? This, for example, I would call this a pretty good aptitude spread, right? It's a pretty solid aptitude spread. Most races are miles or mediums. Most CMs are miles or mediums, with longs like kind of a close third. The fact that you can run all 3 of them pretty easily is nice, right? Pace and late, again, I'm not going to say that like, oh, end closer suck, so the fact that she's an end closer is a negative for her or something. But, you know, she has a couple of different options, more so is nice, because there are certain CMs where, you know, pace chasers might be better, or end closers might be better, or late surgers might be better. So this is off to a good start. I'm not sure how much further we'll get from there, but she's off to a good start here. As far as stat growths, I mean, 20% stamina, 10% wit. On a long Uma, the 20% stamina is certainly nice, right? Wit in general, I think, is just like a horrendously underrated stat. So it is nice for her to have that, but certainly no speed growth is just always tough, right? Speed is the most important stat in every single CM forever. Not to say you can't get away with it, right? Not to say that you can't get away with it, but no speed growth at all, to me, always feels like a slight downside, if nothing else, right? I mean, so, you know, decent stat spread, good aptitudes. Surely it doesn't get worse from here, right? Let's look at her ult. Shooting Star. Ride the momentum to increase velocity and very slightly increase acceleration after passing another runner towards the front late race. What the fuck does that mean? In phase 2 or later, so again, the late race, if you are not what? First? Or what? Huh? After passing another runner toward the front of the race. This is first or better? No, this is first or worse. What an interesting. Greater than or equal to 1. This is a really weird. This is every position. So there's no positioning requirement on this. Well, you have to, like, you could have just said you have to be better than 5th. This is between 1st and 5th. Weird. This is weirdly written here, but sure. You can tell I haven't looked at Special Week very much. But yeah, if you're between 1st and 5th, and then change order 1 time is after you pass someone. So, I mean, not the worst conditions in the world, right? In the late race, you have to pass someone. And if you're a pace chaser, then she just can't be first. She can, right? Equal, greater than or equal to. She can be first. Now, of course, if she passes someone into first, then if it's fine, basically. If she's second and passes someone to become first, it'll still pop. You get some target speeds. Does she have this excel right now? She does, doesn't she? Because she needs to pass someone? Yeah, but once you pass someone, if you're in first, it's still fine, right? You get some target speed and some acceleration. This acceleration is nice, right? This acceleration is nice. The problem is that, again, this is basically a 0.1 excel ultimate most of the time, right? These kind of partial speed and excel ultimates that are more speed than acceleration and will often activate in the beginning of the late race are not very good, right? Now, this used to do literally nothing, right? Because it used to just be 0.35 target speed, and then they buffed it to add the 0.1 acceleration, which is nice. But a lot of the time, right, this is gonna just be 0.1 excel. Because passing someone in the late race is probably going to happen as soon as the late race starts. If you're a pace chaser, right, you're probably passing immediately one of the fronts that didn't pop angling and scheming or who didn't get lucky, right? If there aren't a lot of fronts or something, you're passing another pace maybe. If you're a late, you can very easily pass at least one person as soon as the late race begins as well, like the slowest pace chaser or something. So this is just an ult that is 0.1 excel a lot of the time. This is not very good, right? You get the top speed in like 5 to 8 seconds. Rest of speed, you do not get the top speed in 5 seconds, especially not with this as your acceleration, right? But yeah, I mean, on a medium, this could very well be like 10 seconds, right? But it, like, most of the, like, this is going to be 0.1 excel for most of it. And then you'll get like 2 seconds or something of 0.35 if you're on like a medium or a long. On a long, it might be a little better, but still, this is pretty tough, right? This is certainly not a great ultimate. In conjunction with NSM, even with NSM, I don't think you're getting to top speed in 5 seconds. We can do the math on that, maybe. That seems real. That seems tough. You need to have, like, 1 acceleration per second, which is a lot, right? Like, again, for reference, 0.0006, let's say you have 1200 power, which you don't most of the time, right? Times square root 500 times 1200. You need, yeah, I guess. Like, I guess if you have 1200 power, right? If you have 1200 power and NSM pops and this ult pops and you get a little bit more acceleration from somewhere else, then you probably, yeah, you'll hit top speed in like 4 to 5 seconds, I guess. Right, but also NSM, keep in mind, is only going to be active for, what, 5 of these seconds? No, but yeah, sure. So you get 5 seconds of 0.1 excel, and then you get a little, like, you get speed for the rest of it. If you're on a long, this gets a lot better, certainly. On a medium, most of this is probably going to be the excel. Highlander head-on power is 0.2, by the way. Yeah, if you had all 3 of those as well, right, you could do it. Because you're usually running at about, on a long, you're going to be running on around, like, 19-ish, and you're trying to get to about 23. So you have about 4 to make up. So if you have 1, you'll get there in about 4 seconds. Maybe I'm being a little mean about this, right? Maybe I'm being a little mean about this. But yeah, you'll get 0.1 excel for the acceleration phase, and I guess you'll get a little bit of speed, right? It's not so bad. It's not so bad. The speed is not completely wasted. It really is the 0.1 excel that's the real tough part here, right? So ult, I would say, is not very good, though, still. Like, overall. Even though on a very long course, if you have a lot of other stuff that pops, you might get good value out of the speed. I still think that 0.1 acceleration being your, like, I value acceleration higher than speed, especially in the late race, right? So this is a little tough. I think you're not being mean enough. I think that if your unique is outdone by white skills, you're significantly disadvantaged. Yes, but I'm saying, like, the acceleration sucks, but you might actually get some value out of the acceleration and the speed if you're on a long track, right? Pretty bad ultimate, though, still. I'm not really gonna sit here and defend it too much. It's just that this does do something. It just doesn't do anything too great. Homestretch haste, I'm personally not a fan of this being an innate skill of hers. I much prefer mid-race skills to late-race skills. I know eventually, like right now in JP, they've hit a critical mass of late-race skills because late-race skills are bad, and therefore they print more of them, so you can pop like 20 of them and teleport. We're not there yet, right? As of right now, mid-race skills are almost entirely basically directly superior to late race skills, because if you gain 0.15 meters per second for 3 seconds, whether that's in the mid race or the late race, that's 0.45 meters that you gained on your opponent, except in the mid race it provides positioning advantage too, right? That can help you get into position to pop ults or abilities or things like that. So it's not great. Hydrate is nice to have. I guess she comes with Gourmand, right? Baseline. It's nice for her to have a recovery built in as a long Uma. Steadfast is also, I mean, Steadfast is pass protection, I guess, right? If you're on the final corner, which oftentimes is going to be in the, on her mediums and longs, this often is going to be in the late race, like after you're fully accelerated, right? If someone tries to pass you, you get a little bit of speed. Again, the acceleration's maybe a little wasted here. Right? This is on medium, right? So like a lot of the times the final corner, I guess the final, like this is not a, it's a weird skill. It's a weird skill. It's certainly not one of your trademark, love it to have this skill, need this skill at all times, right? Wet conditions can be fine, though firm usually comes up a little bit more, right? She does have Outer Swell, which is a pretty good mid-race skill for late surge. This is White Rising Dragon, right? You can get some speed carryover on this on, like, mile tracks and stuff a lot of the time. Otherwise, it can be, like, you know, a more reliable closing skill of, like, passing someone and getting some speed compared to something like Steadfast, right? And then her gold skill is also just Gold Homestretch Haste, which... Listen, man, it's not bad, but this is again, it's phase random. This is a Gamba skill, it can miss. This isn't just like Pulse or something, right? You can activate this too late for it to be worth anything. And again, I would much rather have Professor of Curvature or something over this, right? This is not, I'm not a big fan of Homestretch Haste generally. They did buff it, but I'm still, you know, it's good that she has this. I guess it's better than literally nothing, but it's not very good, right? She can get Slick Surge, I believe, off of her a secret event, right? Yes, this still counts. Obviously, once we get to Track Blazer, I gotta stop calling it Mant now. It's called Track Blazer. You know this? What's Calc short for? Sucks to suck trademark. Excuse me. Thank you for the 35 stream streak though. Calc short for calculator though, chat. Once we get to Track Blazer, you don't get these anymore. But for now, it is still nice that that she does get Slick Surge. But yeah, special week is, I don't think you're literally shooting yourself in the foot bringing her, in that, you know, she can, like, she at least has things that do stuff. It's just all of it's underpowered, right? Like, she has, I mean, I don't know if this is an Oshi tier, what is though, right? What is, I like it, how it doesn't get much worse than this. I'll put her here from now, but I honestly I might just need to get rid of this tier. I might just need to get rid of this tier. Her ult literally does something, right? But it's rough. She has a recovery which she needs for her sort of long to medium mindset, right? She has a gold skill that is bad but still there. It's nice that she has, I guess, a velocity gold skill, right? She can get an important acceleration if you want to run her late, right? Yeah. It's just a lot of this is really weak. Really, the only thing saving this Uma is the fact that she can run on almost any CM in the game, right? Long, medium, or mild turf CMs she can do. And the growths are fine for that. Like, maybe my bar is a little too high, but power budget with both late surge and pace skills really puts it in Oshi for me. Honestly, I feel like it's not bad to have a little bit of flexibility, because in certain CMs you might not want to run light, and in certain CMs you might not want to run pace. Like, I don't mind the fact that she gets like slick surge and not head on here or something, right? It's just more so the fact that a lot of the stuff she gets just isn't very good. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll put her here. Let me know as time goes on. We will think about it a little bit more. Maybe she needs to slide down. She's definitely not good though, right? I would say special week is rather weak. Little derby, Agamasen, little Spica, pretty derby, game of the year 2025. She definitely needs a little bit of love. In the Evo patch or whatever the next big patch we're gonna be getting is. Let's look at Silence Suzuka. This is a much more meta-relevant Uma a lot of the time. Suzuka is our only runaway still, right? Once we get, I think, Palmer and Twin Turbo is when we get the other two. But 20% speed growth, nice. 10% guts growth, it's a little cringe, right? You probably rather a little bit more on her, right? But again, right, runs miles, mediums. She can run longs. Now, I will say it doesn't matter quite as much, because whether you're a front runner or a runaway, long tends to be a little rough for you. But it's nice that she can, for reasons we will mention in a little bit here. But yeah, she is mostly a front runner. You can run her pace. I guess technically you can run her late, but I think 10 pink sparks on a style is probably going a little too far, right? F's for runaway and Mant. Yeah, but Mant, we're not talking about Mant at all yet. We are currently just in the current meta that we are in. By the time Mant rolls around, I mean, well, in like a couple of weeks, maybe we also get the fucking first anniversary patch and they're like, fuck it, Evo skills, and like Teo is a god now or something, right? I'm just, maybe we'll do this for the little snapshot that we are in right now. Basically over the course of Alharu, I suppose, right? But yeah, primarily a front runner for sure. Her ult, if she's already in first and there's someone one length behind her, and we're over halfway through the race, they officially posted going to be called Track Blazer, by the way. I thought they did. Maybe I'm wrong, but certainly that seems to what everyone's going with. She gets some speed. So for front runners, obviously we're assuming that, you know, if you're building her as an ace to win, you want her to be in first, you want her to be running, angling, and scheming, right? So it is important to have mid-race velocity skills and mid-race velocity ults to help you fight for that first place position among the other front runners. The fact that you already have to be first to do this, it's not necessarily win more, because you could be first halfway through and then someone pops a skill and passes you, right? But the fact that you already have to be first to do this does mean that sometimes this shit is not going to go too well. But I feel like this is a pretty nice ult to have. Especially if you factor in runaway Suzuka, who is often, unless there's another Suzuka, this is going to be true halfway through the race. It helps her build up a little bit more of a lead, which again is very important for runaway Suzuka, because all of her late game coefficients are completely and utterly dog shit, right? She gets run down by everyone. So she needs to have that real big lead, and this will help with that. This is a pretty good ult, right? I think this does what she needs it to do. It's really good as a runaway, and it's still good as a front, right? It'll be less consistent as a front, but it's still very good to have, right? To just get pretty consistent, a big load of mid-race velocity here. It's not a greatly increases, but, you know, we'll take it. And then, obviously, for being a front runner or a runaway, Suzuka does come with a bunch of groundwork triggers pre-built in, right? Concentration is nice. She comes with Runaway as well, which, I mean, unless you're running her as a frontrunner, I guess you couldn't do this. But Runaway counts as well, right? And then she can also get Early Lead. So she comes with all of the groundwork triggers you need built in. Again, this is not like a nothing thing. It's like, oh, well, just be a real front main and just get those skills on characters that don't have them anyway. You can do that, but having to rely on hints, having to rely on inspiration RNG, right? All that does is it means that it adds more layers of RNG to your high roll, right? It adds more layers of RNG to your high roll, and it means that to get that one godlike high roll that you will place in your team trials team is going to be harder, and on average, you're going to get fewer of those, right? So it does make you literally weaker to not have those skills in your kit. It's not just, convenience is not just like a nice to have thing, right? So it's very nice that she comes with all of her groundwork triggers here. Left-handed, built-in, is also nice as well. It feels like right-handed tracks are a little more common, but it's still, obviously, anything that boosts your speed, having this built in is real nice, right? So great kit, good ultimate, right? And then, honestly, Suzuka is also pretty special in the fact that this character, as of right now, is also an enabler for frontrunners on their worst distance, right? Long. This is where fronts struggle the most. And as of right now, to my understanding, Wakita-san comes out. I'm not sure what about her changes this, but maybe something changes, or maybe as the game develops, this gets a little bit worse for them. But long tracks are a rough time for fronts in the video game right now. And really, the only way that you can consistently win with fronts on a long track is having a runaway Suzuka that dies and and gives them something to NSM off of, right? Their coefficients are so bad, and NSM is so strong that the combination of not being able to trigger NSM as often as the other strategies, right, as well as having those terrible coefficients with such a long late race, makes it very difficult for fronts. Suzuka can at least get rid of that NSM problem for your fronts, right? So he's pretty key to running front runners on long, so there's a little bit of utility involved. And then as a runaway or a front, you don't just have to run Suzuka runaway, by the way. He's a perfectly capable front runner as well. I've seen a lot of just ace front Suzukas that do just fine if you're worried about the stamina requirements. But as a runaway or as a front runner, she's also perfectly capable as an ace on miles and mediums. She has everything that she needs to win. There's just a little bit of inherent gamba to the runaway strategy of the more runaways there are, the worse runaway kind of is, if you're trying to build her as an ace to win. But there's really very little to complain about with Suzuka, right? She sticks to her losing my long win con in Big Blaze, a Wilted Rose. Yep. She sticks to her IRL and anime kind of being a monster status. I don't know if Suzuka is just great or Eclipse first, the rest nowhere. She feels relative, like it feels like a lot of the times if Suzuka is relevant for a CM, you are generally talking about her, right? You are generally talking about her. You may even be building around her. You may even be building around people building her and putting her on their teams. I feel like maybe you could argue her as high as here. I'll put her here for now, just to put some respect on the GOAT, and as an apology to Little Spica for putting her so down low. She'll at least be happy to see Suzuka this high up. As more people fill into this, maybe I'll decide she just belongs here. But Suzuka's very strong, I think. I am not going at a good pace. I'm taking 10 minutes per. Well, I'm taking 10 minutes per. We have 67 to do. We got to go quicker. I mean, we're establishing some stuff as we go. We got to go quicker. Let's go. Let's look at Teo. Let's look at Teo. Teo is, well, this is original Teo as well, right? Siete patch will save special week. Indeed. Again, I would actually, for Alharu at least, this is kind of a perfect aptitude spread, right? They have an A in one thing, but you can get them to A in 3 different things really nicely. It's actually a little bit more annoying when you have multiple A's because of how the Alharu bursts work. If you want, Tail E is just, you can run, in fact, if you're not bringing 10 pink Mile Sparks on Mile, what are you doing, kind of, right? So you can run her Mile if you want, you can run her medium default, and you can run her long easily. So I actually like this aptitude spread a lot. 20% speed, 10% stamina. Good growths, right? Obviously, she's not a front, so wit is not as important, but it's still nice to have, but you can slot in some more wit skills there. I like these growths, right? I like these aptitudes. He's a pace chaser by default. Again, with aptitudes, it's a little bit harder to fuck around, right? It's not as simple to just say, oh, bring 4 late surger sparks. You usually want to save your pink sparks for distance first and then surface second a lot of the time, right? Maybe for front, this can be a bit of an exception, but she's mostly a pace chaser. So she's not as flexible there. If there's a CM where paces are kind of disadvantaged, too bad. Her ult. She has to be final corner or beyond, and not on a corner. So this means it's the final straight, right? She has to be third, second, or first. Someone has to be one horse length with in front of her, and she is overtake. I believe means that they have an overtake target. Yes. If in the next 15 seconds, if nothing changed, she would overtake her opponent, then this activates, right? So overall, this looks like a lot. It's not the most crazy condition in the world, right? To be on the final straight and be running a little bit faster than someone to the point that you would overtake them if everything stayed the same within 15 seconds. If there's a front runner in front of you in the late race, this is probably going to happen. This isn't going to do much of anything outside of long tracks, though, right? Because you really need that final straight to be happening when you are fully accelerated to make this as good as possible. Like Tokyo Derby, like a 2400 and up, probably, is when you'll see this. It's still nice to have the 0.45, though, right? Now, these two are still conditions, though, right? Like, you do still have to have them pretty close in front of you. If this is activated, then this is probably activated, right? This is really the main condition, is they have to be within one length of you, which by the late race can be a little tough, but it can be a nice closer skill, right? Somewhat inconsistent, but strong that it's a 0.45, for sure. And again, on a long, too, that final straight, this might be active the whole time, right? So when this goes off, it'll be, like, better than Pulse, but it is going to be less consistent to activate than Pulse. But ult is fine, right? They buffed the tail step. I think the ult is actually not bad. It's not amazing, but it's fine. She comes with Prudent Positioning, which is, I mean, not very good if you're not a frontrunner. She comes with Thunderbolt Step, right? Which, when you're positioned towards the back mid-race, 5th or worse, you get some Excel, or in the late, in the mid-race, yeah. It's not, I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird skill. Right? You have to be on a medium, and it has to be in the mid-race, and you get movement speed and acceleration. It's kind of not very good, right? Prudent Positioning is kind of not very good for a pace chaser. She comes with Shrewd Step, which is literally just whenever you change lanes, you get some Excel, which is almost certainly going to be at some point in the mid-race. So again, this is mid-race acceleration, so it's a little bit wasted. I don't know. I've never seen this do anything. This feels like a pretty... if you get lucky and you somehow never change lanes until the late race, I guess this is a 0.2 Excel, but even then, it's not going to be consistent, right? So I'm not a huge fan of this, personally. And then, yeah, she gets Technician, which is the gold version of Shrewd Step, which I think is a really bad skill. It's like, it's a really bad gold that she has here, right? She gets Soft Step, which is, sure, yeah, it can be a decent recovery, right? She gets Lightning Step, which is just the gold version of Thunderbolt Step, which I don't think is a very good skill. She comes with Prepared to Pass and Head On. She can get them through her secret event, I believe, right? Yeah, she gets head-on by just winning the Triple Crown, which is super doable, right? Especially if you're already building her for a medium or a long. And it's pretty nice, right? You get, well, I think you already get this, but you get more guts and you get head-on, right? And then if you win the Spring Triple Crown, you get speed and power. Sure. She gets head-on, but, like, it is nice that she can get head-on. Head-on is a, like, key acceleration. It's the kind of acceleration for pace chasers, the default excel. Kind of like, you know, think it's their Slick Surge, it's their Angling and Scheming, right? It's their Spurt. So it is really nice that she gets this, with not the world's hardest condition on the secret event there, but the rest of her kit, like her entire kit is so ass, and her ult is fine. You know what I mean? Maybe, you know what? Teo is probably underwhelming. Special Week might be OG PvP. You know what I mean? Teo has, like, an ult that does something, and she can get a really good excel for her primary thing, but her kit is so ass. Is Teo better than Special Week? I don't know, man. Her ult is certainly a lot better, I think. Her ult is a lot better than Special Weeks. Her kit is even worse. But she is, I guess, a little bit more entirely specced towards pace. Spell looks easier to proc. Special Weeks ult is easier to proc, yes, but it's significantly worse when it does proc, right? I'll take a 0.45 finishing velocity over a 0.1 excel. That, like, gives me some speed later any day, I think. Maybe they're both here. Maybe I'll get rid of this Ochi PvP one and just I don't know. Maybe it'll just be Haru as well. I think they both can do things, but there's huge gaps in their kit that make them feel pretty weak, right? I think to be Ochi PvP, you have to have almost none of what I was talking about. Where, like, up here, Suzuka has a good ult, good aptitudes, good growths, a good kit, right? She has everything that I was talking about, basically. These guys have some. Like, you have, like, a decent ult, and you can get a good excel. You have, like, a decent ult, and you can get a good excel, right? I think for Ochi PvP, you have to have almost none of it. You have to have just, like, your aptitudes are bad, your ult is bad, your kit is bad, your growths are bad, you have no good secret events. That's it, right? Which I don't know if anyone else fits that, but Haru, but we'll see, man. We'll see. If she's alone, I'll just rename it to Haru Urara. Let's move on. Let's keep going. Special Week and Teo are not entirely lacking in the things that I think makes a good Uma, right? You can get rid of the underwhelming tier and then make a Haru tier under. Well, if I get rid of a tier, I probably would make this, because I think these guys are underwhelming. I don't think they're unrunnable. I think they're underwhelming, right? We might rename this to Haru. We'll see. Maruzensky. Maruzensky. Don't forget the Haru's affinity also blows. That is not so. I'm not factoring in your ability as a parent very heavily, like, unless it's a really huge part of you. But yeah. Maru is a frontrunner primarily. I mean, pretty much exclusively, right? Again, theoretically, you could get her to be an A pace, but why are you putting 10 pace sparks on your Maruzensky? She has 10% speed growth, 20% wit growth. These are really good growths for a frontrunner, right? Wit is already a heavily amazing stat, and fronts need it more than anyone else, right? So speed and wit growth, perfect, right? She can run miles, mediums, longs, and shorts. She can run literally everything, right? And dirt as well. Like, this actually is one of the best stat spreads in the entire... I did not notice that Maruzensky can run literally every track in the game, right? Like, dirt could be a little hard for her, but you can run everything on her. Now, of course, with no stam growth, you might find it a little hard on those longs, but you can make it work for sure, right? Especially as she doesn't come with a recovery built in or anything. So long will be a little bit of a stretch for her, plus she's a front runner anyway. But Maru really can run every fucking thing in the game, huh? He can run sprints, miles, mediums, longs, dirts, turfs, everything. Very, very, like, this is the best stat spread we've seen so far, for sure. This might be the best one in the fucking game, to be honest with you, right? The only thing that will be hurting her is the fact that she can't do, like, you can't, like, backline in some way is going to make this long a little hard for her, but yes. Obviously, redshift is redshift, right? You know how this works. If you're on the final corner and you're 5th or better, this activates. This is, for Maruzensky herself, this is mostly going to be good in mediums and longs, right? Well, mediums in particular, where the final corner happens in the acceleration zone. Long miles, maybe like a 1800 mile. What does like Tokyo 1800 look like off the top of my head? Tokyo 1800. Yeah, no. Yeah, you really do need, like, it's like a certain amount of mediums where this is going to be. But when it's good, it's really good, right? Like, obviously in like the Derby right here, this shit is like perfect, right? When Maru can activate redshift, I mean, this is a ridiculous acceleration. This is essentially, if you're running Maru as a front runner, this is not a requirement, right? The idea that your front has to be 5th or better is a non-factor, right? This should never not be true. So on the mediums where this is true, right, or even some of those shorter longs like the Aramakinen or something, this shit is really insanely good, right? But it is pretty heavily restricted track-wise, right? Like, on her amazing aptitude spread, you're really only going to get value out of this on like 2200s and up, probably, right? You can get some, I guess, for Maru herself. That's actually, I'm lying, because as an inherits, that's true, right? For Maru herself, that's not actually true, because even if we look at an 1800, I mean, probably a 2000. Give me like a 2000 medium, right? There's no 2000 medium in Tokyo? There's a 2000 medium for Kyoto, right? I think. Yeah, there is. Like, the final corner here, right, starts... Oh, actually, no, right there, it's fine. Yeah. If the final corner starts at least 2000, Tenno Autumn. Tenno Autumn is what? Is it Hanshin? Which one's? Tokyo? I thought it was a 2000, yeah. Oh, there was. I just skipped past it. Yeah, there you go. Even if the final corner starts a little early, Maruzensky is going to get... This does last for, like, you know, on a 2000, it would last for 8 seconds. So she'll get some carryover on this too, right? Of course, as it inherits, it really is only for a very particular set of medium tracks. But Maru can make this work pretty much on all mediums and some of the shorter longs as well. It's very good ult, right? I mean, this ult is so strong that it's one of the defining inherits for both paces and lates and fucking fronts a lot of the time too, right? Very strong ultimate on Maruzensky. As far as her kit for being a frontrunner, I mean, she comes with early leads. You always got to check for groundwork triggers on her, right? Mid-race velocity, shifting gears. Mid-race velocity in straightaway adept, where, of course, this is only miles, but still, fronts are desperately fighting for that first position, and I always love me some mid-race velocity in general, right? Again, acceleration I'm not really a big fan of, because when you pass another runner, you get excel. This is very much like Shrewd Step. The odds that this triggers right before you enter the late race are very low, right? This is kind of bad, but changing gears is nice, right? She has focus, so again, you have early leads and focus. Of course, you'd rather concentration, but if you're just looking for groundwork triggers, she comes with 2 out of 3 right out of the gate. And then, again, this is the gold version of acceleration, which is a little bit ash, right? And then, again, huge lead. This is for sprints, but, you know, she comes with 2 groundwork triggers and basically a good mid-race skill for Mile. I actually do like this. I do like that she is particularly, like, her mid-race is spec'd primarily towards mile races, because on medium and long races, she doesn't even fucking need to pop angling and scheming, man. She's gonna hit redshift and blow you in half, right? So, like, yeah, while she's worse at fighting for angling and scheming, right? While she is bad at fighting for angling and scheming on a medium track, her win condition is almost a little angling and scheming agnostic, right? Like, congratulations, you're the front runner who got first, and you popped your 2.4 seconds of 0.2 excel. She is in 3rd place, and she's doing this, right? She's gonna rip you in half. So the fact that she's mostly kitted towards fighting for position on mile, where her ult is not going to be as good a lot of the time, I like that, actually. The real shame is, of course, this is just a worthless gold in Step on the Gas, right? Yeah. Maru was pretty great, right? Maru was pretty great. She's a little limited in where she's going to be very dominant, right? I'm not going to say highly situational. I think, like, all mediums and some longs and the longer miles is not highly situational, right? But I think I can at least give her a little bit of a knock to the point where, you know, I'm gonna put her in just great. I think I do really like as an ace. I think Maru is very strong on the right track, and she has some things mitigating her weaknesses for her kit as well, right? And her growths are good, and her aptitude spread is maybe the best in the game. Ogre. I mean, listen, I'm biased, right? But we're going to try and be somewhat objective about this. I'm gonna look at her the way I've looked at everyone else, right? Ogre also has one of the best aptitude spreads in the game, right? Well, in fact, she's one of the other competitors for the best, honestly, right? A mile, A medium, B long. You can get her to A sprint as well. The best, in my opinion. Yeah, honestly, if this was F, we could maybe talk. But this being E means you can actually get her to A sprint very easily as well. I did it for the sprint CM, right? And she has B dirt and A turf. And I think something that really puts her over Maru is that she can also backline, right? So on these long tracks, you can just go, okay, I'm late surging Ogre. And then, like, she doesn't struggle being forced into front running on a long, which is really rough, or like pace chasing on a long, which is not quite as rough, but still quite rough, right? So this probably is just maybe the best aptitude spread in the game. 20% speed growth is always great, right? 10% power, it's fine. It's nice because it means that you oftentimes do not have to over-index on power sparks or power cards to hit the power stats that you need. It lets you just go, all right, I'm just going to click speed, and I'm probably going to get the power I need through just clicking speed most of the time, right? I'll get to acceptable levels of power by just mashing on the speed button. It does leave her wanting for stamina a little bit on longs sometimes, and wit a lot of the time, but you can build your dex and your sparks around that, right? You'd much rather, like, bring wit cards than bring power cards, right? Plus, he's not a front, so not having the wit growth is not as worse, right? Best aptitude in the game, IMO. I find the 10% power is really nice, right? For letting you basically ignore power a little bit more. It sets a swing by after watching the Vakal vid, and the put him in a woke concentration camp, take all the straight out of his balls line. Mr. Brick, you are truly a poet. Thank you. I had soda go up my nose. Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Pulse is kind of like the default just good ult. Like, to me, to be a great ult, you have to be better than this. You know what I mean? Like, to be a great ult, you have to be better than Pulse. It is not necessarily absurdly ridiculous. It's not like Say in the Sky popping angling or scheming or anything. This is a very consistent, when you need this ult, it pops and it makes a difference, right? With 200 meters to go, you will, if you're not first, you'll get a big speed boost, right? A big, like a 0.45 speed boost. It's guaranteed value on most tracks, but yeah, it's not a game winner. Yes. So to me, this is the gatekeeper for, like, if you're not noticeably better than this, you are not, like, an amazing ultimate, right? There is a lot of lost value that ends up happening here because the ideal 200 meters, you will often, in the late race, you're passing that over the course of about 9 seconds, right? So if the track is any longer than... Yeah, if the track is any longer than, like, 1,800 to 2,000 meters, you're not going to get the full benefit of Pulse, right? If it's lasting for 15 seconds on a 3,000 meter course, you're not getting the full benefit out of it, so it can certainly cause her some trouble on those longs. But just, again, consistent, good ultimate all the time. There's never a track where this is bad. It's just, like, at its strongest on certain tracks, right? If you're on a sprint, it might not last the entire 200 meters, but on those miles and mediums, this is just, it's great. This is straight up going to be, you know, a length and a half. Guaranteed. Every time. If you're not already in first, right? Now, her kit, I think, is where you can start to make a couple knocks against Ogre. Mostly because she comes with Gourmand, which is nice, right? She comes with Cloudy
Very
Days,
good odds that this person
which,
is incredibly
you know, can
smart
be nice
and attractive.
sometimes. Nimble Nav is really nice to have built in, right? Nimble Nav is very nice to have built in. Lesbian Witch Academia, by the way. Thank you for the kind words earlier and the tier 1. Nimble Nav is very nice to have built in, but this is her gold. Corner Connoisseur. This shit is real bad, right? Because it's on a corner, you'll get Excel. Now, can this be a crazy Gamba sometimes and go nuts? Sure, but this is a pretty garbage skill, right? Especially a gold. Like if you want to grab a white of this and just Gamba if it's on the sprint CM and you've got nothing better to do, like I guess, but this is quite bad, right? Situational though, I mean this isn't even that situational to be honest with you. Like even on tracks where, like even on the sprint CM where everything was Gamba, this is still a pretty bad Gamba, right? This is just a bad skill. This is a bad skill. This is every now and then, 1 in every 50 races you run with Ogre, this shit's gonna win you the race on the spot. But it's probably not worth the 360 skill points it's printed on. You can make a good argument that the white version is not worth the 180 skill points it's printed on, right? This is a very bad gold that she's rocking here. But overall, I would say her kit is still fine because she has a built-in recovery and she has Nimble Nav, which is quite good. She just has a really wasted gold. And then she has, again, maybe the best aptitude spread in the game and one of the best one of the best growths for her positions, right? And she has, like, just the default great ult, right? But her kit is only right? And the other thing is Ogre has no way to grab either head-on or Slick Surge, right? Whether you're running her pace or late, you are going to need, like, where for fronts, you're always looking for groundwork triggers, right? For all of the other strategies, it's often a matter of you have access to more accelerations than fronts tend to do. So you just are trying to stack as many accels as possible, and Ogre will come with literally none of that because Corner Connoisseur is her acceleration. So I think that is also a bit of a knock that you can make against Ogre, honestly. Now, she does, unironically, I do think it's worth noting, Ogre does have 2 different energy recovery events, right? I found that these pop, like, her having 2 of these means this pops up a lot. It is actually relative, like, it does make energy management with her quite easy. Her having, like, the normal, you know, 30 energy or 10% slow metabolism, and then her own second one, which is the exact same thing as well, is nice, but it's a very minor point in her favor. I do think, overall, Ogre is kind of, again, the gatekeeper to, like, she is just great, right? Ogre is great. Ogre has been B, A, or S tier in every single CM we've had so far, and I, like, genuinely cannot imagine a situation where that will not be the case, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the track is, it doesn't matter what the aptitude is, it doesn't matter what the meta is looking like, right? Ogre has been pretty good in every single CM, and she's been great in some of them. I think she is this is the gatekeeper for just, like, again, you have to be Eclipse first, the rest nowhere. You have to be more meta-defining, right, in some way than this. And honestly, that makes me think that Suzuka needs to go down here. Maybe above her, but Suzuka probably needs to go down here, actually. On average, I don't know if Suzuka is providing, like, is as good on all of these CMs as Ogre has been, right? In certain CMs, Suzuka can certainly outshine, but I feel like that actually is enough of an argument for me to pull her down a tad there, right? Gold chip. Thanos chip. We don't have to spend too much time talking about gold chip, right? She's been, again, very good aptitude spread, can run longs, can run mediums, can run miles, right? Can end late or pace, which is nice. B, you can honestly get, unless you're front running, you can get away with B on a strategy. You don't even have to bring the sparks necessarily, but it's also only 1 spark if you want to get her to pace, right? Great aptitude spread, great stat spread for, in particular, the longs that she's often running, which is where she's at her strongest anyway. She can't run dirts, she can't run sprints, but, like, kind of who cares, right? Anchors Away is just one of the best fucking ults in the game. Gold Chip is an end closer with end closer coefficients, right? Who oftentimes on these longs is, I mean, this always procs, right? I don't think I've seen, it's very rare to have a race where Gold Chip does not proc this ultimate. It has to be like 9 end closers in the lobby, deadass. And when it procs, she gets, like, on a long, which is again where she's at her strongest, she gets like 15 seconds of 0.25. This is an end closer with end closer coefficients who's often like 5th or 4th going into the late race, right? So she's so goddamn far ahead once she pops this ultimate, and then she just coefficient mogs you from there, right? Nutty ultimate. And it's still good on mediums, by the way. On a 2000 medium, this is 12 seconds of 0.25, right? She's fucking, you feel the pressure as she's fucking catching up to you. This ult is really good, right? The better you are at fundies, the lower the chance of this going off. It is true in that the more mid-race you throw on her, the less odds she has of going off. But guess what, motherfucker? If Gold Chip is like 4th in the mid-race because you loaded her up on wit and mid-race, she's gonna win that race anyway. She's an end closer, right? Like it's kind of the same thing with like on your left, right? If Gold Chip is like 4th or 3rd or something in the mid-race, she's gonna win that race almost certainly regardless, right? This is just like if she's in the back, she's not anymore. She will coefficient mog your ass anyway, right? Also, she comes with Umastand, which is amazing, right? On these long mediums and these longs where you're going to be running her a lot of the time, right? Umastand is, I mean, pretty damn mission critical, and she just comes with it built in, which is amazing. It's also one of the more annoying skills to get. Like a lot of skills, like, oh, if I want like Slick Surge, if I want Spurt or something, like if you want Spurt, you run a speed card, right? Now, I know people might hate that Sweep Tosho, but she's a good speed card if you borrow her MLB. It's just you have to deal with that like 50-50 or 75-25, whatever it is she gives you Spurt. To get Umastand, you either have to go through Parents, which, I mean, even a 3-star White Spark on Umastand with like 80 affinity is a 17% chance to pop per inspiration, so it's not good, right? Or you have to put a power card in your deck. So, like, Umastand is one of the more annoying mission-critical skills, and she just comes with it built-in, which is awesome, right? Pressure, I mean, this is... Passing another runner late race, it's kind of nothing, right? It's a little bit of nothing because, like, maybe in a long where the late race is so long that you probably are going to be, like, you're going to be at top speed for a lot of the late race. This can be good, but a lot of the time this will also do nothing, right? You're gonna pass someone right at the beginning of the late race when you're not at top speed, and the speed bonus won't do anything. I can see right through you is also kind of nothing, right? But yes, she comes with After School Stroll, which of course becomes Go Home Specialist, so she has a built-in gold recovery as well, right? She comes with Standing By, which again is just another one if you want it, I guess, if you need the extra recovery. She has a second one there. Coast is clear. Right? On longs, you're also not very common to get, it's not very common, like these longer mediums and these longs where Gold Chip specializes anyway. You're not super common to get blocked in the first place because of the fact that the final corner is so early. But I guess maybe if you're terrified of getting blocked, I don't know, man. Does this help her in miles? I think it's mostly just a waste, right? It's nice for team trials, okay? If you're building your Gold Chip for team trials, you pop Coast is clear. She can get Gape kept out of her unique event, which is funny, yes. But yeah, non-standard distance is also nice that she can come with this. Now, I will say it's a little fake because it is, this one's for keeps, right? Yeah. You don't usually go for this. It is 60 skill points and non-standard distance if you get it, but you do get Slacker if it goes wrong. I don't know what the odds on this are, but me at least, I'm always scared of this event, right? It's a very high risk, high reward thing. Gold Chip is also a little annoying to train because she can just randomly lock your trainings, and she does it more often than I thought. I believe she also has one more mood down event than the average Umamusume, right? So there can be some annoyances with building Gold Chip as well. Her secret event, right, can just randomly blow you in half. Yeah, it is this, right? Yeah. You can get Charming, which I mean, this is senior year Takarazuka Kinen, so it doesn't matter. But you just get like a little bit more skill points and stats, or you get Gate kept. Gold Chip, I think, is... I think it is... The one... Here's the only thing. The thing to me that holds Gold Chip back from being Eclipse first, the rest nowhere, is that she has no good access to an acceleration skill, right? She has no good way to grab any acceleration skill she might want, right? You can't, like, you can't, she doesn't have Nimble Nav, she doesn't have NSM, she doesn't have Spurt, she doesn't have Slick Surge if you wanted to fucking late surge her, she doesn't have anything, right? And her ult does not fill that void either, right? So I think there is, maybe that's not enough, maybe I should just put Gold Chip up here, but I feel like she doesn't quite have access to, like, she's missing, her kit is only good. Everything else about her is amazing, but her kit is only good. I think I'm going to be pretty harsh on who I put up here, right? Aoharu solved this for her pretty cleanly. It is true, right? It is true. I guess okay, that's true, actually. Since I am referring to the current meta, and in Aoharu, NSM is just free anyway, I guess so. I guess it does take away her only, like, you can get Spurt on her, right? You have to get Spurt on her, but that's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, in Aoharu, NSM comes for free. So that probably is the only thing you can really hold against her, right? Eclipse first, the rest nowhere, man. Golshi-sama, she's here. She's here to fucking rip you in half in every CM for the rest of history. Maybe once the Evo patch hits, she won't be quite as good. We'll see. Who's next? Vodka. Vodka is Vodka's in a weird spot, I think. But I'm going to talk about it in a second here, but she feels like she's in a weird spot to me. 20% power growth, 10% power growth. Vodka is primarily, I mean, pretty much entirely, she's a mile or medium horse, right? So, I mean, the power is nice for 4 miles, but I personally would much rather this was flipped. If she had Ogre stat growth and this was 20% speed, 10% power, I think it'd be better, right? She's primarily a late surger. She can also pace, though, right? B pace is nothing too crazy. Her ult, right? Her ult is interesting. Let's get cut and drive. Acceleration is the weaker version, right? It's a 0.35, and essentially you have to be third or worse. Let me not read. I always read these angle brackets wrong, right? You have to be third or worse. Yes, greater than or equal to 3. Third or fifth, right? Third to fifth. So third, fourth, or fifth. There's 200 meters left, and there's someone 1 length in front of you. So this is worse pulse with a worse effect, right? Otherwise, it has to be with someone 1 length behind you, but you're third to fifth, right? Third to fifth, 200 meters left, and someone is either 1 length in front of you or 1 length behind you. This is worse pulse with some weaker magnitude as well, right? I would consider this to be right? I would consider this ult to be kind of It's not terrible, but it's not the most consistent activation in the world, and the effect it gives you is only alright, right? The difference between 0.35 and 0.45, you do feel that, especially when we're talking in the late race. At this point, I just need raw lengths out of you, right? You're not helping me position, you're not helping me get to like second or third or something like that early on. All you're doing is giving me lengths. I need more lengths out of you than 0.35. It's fine though. It's not a bad ultimate, it's a fine ultimate, right? It is really nice that Vodka comes with both of her like key accelerations built in, right? She comes with Furious Feet, and she can grab Slick Surge, right? And Mile Straightaways, so a little bit of mid-race. You are going to have to load Vodka up with mid-race, because generally, personally, the way that I view Updrafters and the way that I view Slick Surge / on your left, Updrafters / Furious Feet and Slick Surge / on your left, is they are contingencies for a bad mid-race. It is nice that late surgers have them, right? But primarily, what I've found to be the most successful on these late surgers and end closers, honestly, is your late race coefficients are so strong that if you can just bully your way up to like the middle of the pace chaser pack by the time the late race rolls around, even without activating this shit half the time, you are just going to run people down, right? Your top speed is going to be significantly higher. Your natural acceleration is going to be significantly better, right? And if you can fit any other acceleration in there as well, it gets real rough, right? So these are nice in that if sometimes your mid race just goes bad, right? And if that's the case and you end up 5th or worse, or 6th or worse, right? In the late race, then you can gamba on these things to like slingshot you back ahead. So they are nice contingencies, certainly, right? And they are core accelerations for the strategy, so it's nice that she comes with both of them. She also comes with shifting gears, right? She also can get Nimble Nav, right? And Nimble Nav just is from one of her random events. So you can't trigger this. Is it Showdown by the River? No, it gives her shifting gears. Is it one of these? Take a little detour. One of her like random events is the one that gives you Nimble Nav. I think it's not one of her secret events. Oh yeah, Slick Surge. I mean, I will talk about this. Slick Surge is not realistic for her to get. I don't think. I could have sworn. What the fuck? Which one of her events gives her Nimble Nav? Am I stupid? The Ultimate Choice, Showdown by the River, Challenging Fate, Like a Kid. Yeah, I don't know. It's in here somewhere. But events without choices. An Outlaw. No. From a race, probably. No, I swear it's an event that pops up. Maybe I'm wrong. It might be from a race. Oh, I'm thinking of her support card. I'm thinking of the Vodka support card that gets it off an event. Yeah. How does she get Nimble Nav? Now that I'm realizing it. How does she get Nimble Nav? I'm actually not certain. It says here she does. It must be by winning one of her races, I suppose. Right? Character's event. Am I stupid? I might be stupid. It must be after winning a particular event, right? I don't think that this... Oh, no. Here it is. After the Yastakinen. Yeah, if you win the Yastakinen, you get it. Yeah. If you win the Yastakinen, you get it. That's not hard to do at all. So she gets Nimble Nav pretty consistently. I will say, the coolest and number 1 here, this is... You have to win the Armakinen twice to do this, and Vodka has long F, right? So, that little Slick Surge hint is kind of fake, actually. I did forget about that. It says it here, but, like, you're not doing this, right? You're not winning the Armakinen twice. I mean, look at this fucking thing, right? You're not winning the Armakinen twice. So she really does only come with Furious Feet, I suppose, right? She doesn't come with Slick Surge. So Slick Surge, on a mile, Updrafters is the better of the two, right? But you're going to have to put Slick Surge on her somewhere else. Really easy to do through Nice Nature Wit, though, right? Unlike Umastan, which is like a mission-critical skill that is really annoying to get, Slick Surge is incredibly easy to get. You just put one of the best Wit cards in the game in your deck, and you get it. So it's not that big of a deal, right? And she already comes with one of the other ones. But overall, I would say Vodka, right? Her stat growths are fine. I would much rather them if they were flipped. She has decent aptitudes. Her ult is okay. And her kit is solid, right? I feel like on Miles in particular, she is pretty strong, right? On Miles in particular, she's pretty strong because that's where she's going to come with like two different Mile skills for mid race and, you know, the best acceleration for lates for Miles. On just that one distance, Vodka might be great, but highly situational, right? She does. I think she's she's in a bit of a rough spot because I think there's another horse who is great but highly situational, who is just better at what Vodka does than Vodka, aka miling, right? But I do think he's still good. He's still very good at miles, even if there is just someone who's better a lot of the time, right? Hint, hint, right? Daiwa. Let's talk about Daiwa. Daiwa Sukarletto. I really am not going to get through all this today, huh? I don't think I am. I think I cannot make myself not yap about this game. 20% guts growth is bad, right? That's no good. Her growths are not very good. 10% speed, 20% guts. I mean, maybe later this gets better. Guts is a better stat right now, but you would rather this be almost literally anything. I mean, she can run longs as well. You would rather this be literally 20% in anything else, probably. 20% stam, 20% power, 20% wit. She's a front runner, right? You would rather this. So her growths are pretty bad. Her growths are pretty bad. Her aptitudes, however, quite good, right? Can run miles, mediums, longs, and can front or pace, which is nice. Her ultimate is one of those that's like, it can be a little hard to trigger, but it's very strong, yes? Well, it can be a little hard to get value out of, more accurately, like the full value out of it. If over half the rate has passed, and you're first, and there's someone behind you, then you get this, so it's a bit of passing protection. And unlike Suzuka's ultimate, also, if over half the race has passed and you're second, and you're, you know, if 15 seconds passed at the current speeds, you would overtake the Uma in front of you, which is just like, if you popped a speed skill and they didn't, this is probably true, right? Then you get this. So the activation conditions are actually pretty, not the worst in the world. First or second can be hard, but you're running her front, right? It's not like Pasa where you're first or second and you're pacing. So it's not the worst activation condition in the world. If there's a problem with this ultimate, it's just that this is primarily an Excel ultimate, where a lot of the time that acceleration might be wasted. It depends a lot on the distance you're running with, right? Honestly, even if it's a weak mid-race velocity ult, having a mid-race velocity ult at all is really good for a front runner, right? You're trying to hit angling and scheming, you're trying to fight for first, and this ult is explicitly designed to let you do that. So even if it's only 0.25, that's still nice. When you can get carryover and get this to actually last into the late race, this is really good. To get all of that mid-race velocity and then get a little excel out of it, this will be ridiculous, right? I believe this will mostly be on miles, I think, right? If we looked at like Tokyo 1600 or something like that. The late race starts at 1067. Halfway through the race would be 800. It have to be a little shorter than this, I think, because here you have 260, assuming it pops immediately. If you late activate, then awesome. But assuming it pops immediately, you have 267 meters. That's going to take you in the neighborhood of 15 seconds to cross, and this ult will only be lasting for about 9 seconds, right? So you actually, yeah, this might, it's a little weird, right? You kind of need this. You can try to late activate this with Suzuka, right? Is one thing you can do, certainly. If you are running a Suzuka, it makes it much easier to Daiwa rocket. I have a Daiwa argument on Miles. If you just chain mid-race speed and find second as pace, she's kind of balling. The Guts even comes into play dueling-wise. The Guts comes into play dueling-wise, but you would absolutely... I mean, if you want to chain mid-race skills to get second as pace, then you would wish you had the width growth instead, probably, right? But yeah, this ult is always good, but to make it... Like, either this is going to activate late and you're going to get mostly Excel, or it's going most of the time it's probably going to activate too early and you're just going to get speed to fight for first place as a front runner. Both of those are good. To get the nuts out of this, like if you got like 5 seconds of speed and 5 seconds of 0.3 Excel out of this, it will be really, really good. But you kind of have to, do a lot of work to get that to happen, right? You probably have to build the team around letting Daiwa do this, by and large, right? With some kind of... you know, on a long where there's not going to be that many fronts, and you can, like, build a Suzuka rocket, and then you can activate this right as you pass Suzuka in the late race or something. But getting both parts of this to be valuable is not that common. Again, though, the part that is more often valuable, target speed in the mid race, because she's a front runner, right? That is really good. Right? Normally you go, well, I'm only getting speed and no excel. This fucking sucks. But no, it's nice for her. It's still, this is a good ult most of the time, right? Rocket Daiwa is a TC mainstay. Yeah. Like, again, Rocket Daiwa is like, if you do some effort building the team around having that happen, then her ult it can be very, very strong. Even when you don't, it's still good, right? Even if all you get out of this is like 7 seconds or 8 seconds of 0.25 speed to help you proc angling and scheming if you're front running, then you're not mad about that. That's awesome, right? Comes to competitive spirits, which, sure, you can this has got a lot better, right? You just need 4 people. So, I mean, in CM anyway. So if you are running like triple pace or triple front, you need 1 other guy, which is pretty common. If you're running double pace or double front, you need 2 others, which is also not that uncommon depending on what CM you're in, right? Paces especially, it's pretty easy for them to proc this, right? They're usually good in a lot of different lengths. She comes with up tempo for mediums. The 20% guts does suck a lot, but the 10% speed is good enough. I mean, her aptitudes are bad, but she can maybe make up for it with the rest of her kit. Yes. Up tempo is fine, right? It's just a medium race speed skill if you're between first and fifth, which is great, right? That's like on medium. This is really good. Again, 4 fronts. Same thing with killer tunes. Prepared to pass for pace chaser. So she has a couple of velocity skills, regardless of what you're doing there, which is nice, bad. I feel like since she already comes with a really good mid-race velocity skill, and her ult helps her fight for it too, the fact that she spreads out a little bit doesn't bother me too much, and she comes with a built-in recovery as well, if you're running her on longs, right? So overall, I'd say the kit is pretty good, right? Kit's pretty good. Front runners don't necessarily have to worry about coming with a crazy acceleration, because it's kind of built into their inherits. But, I mean, if she had, like, unrestrained or something, that'd be great, I guess. However, she does. I believe hers is a little less insane than Vodka's, by the way. Now, a lot of these are her goal races, right? A lot of these are her goal races, so it's not quite as crazy as it looks. But again, the reason this can work a little bit better for Daiwa compared to Vodka is because all of these, still pretty tough, right? But I believe, like, yeah, Hanshin Juvenile Phillies, you'd have to run extra, but you're going to do that most of the time. Okasho is already a goal race of hers. Tokyo Derby can be a goal race of hers, right? I think you can switch this out to be Derby instead of Oaks, right? So that can be a goal race of hers. The Takarazuka Kinen is not. You're going to have to go out of your way to run that. The Shuka Show is already a goal race of hers, right? The Queen Elizabeth Cup is already a goal race of hers. The Osaka High is already a goal race of hers. The Tenno Show Autumn is already a goal race of hers. So basically, this reads, obviously you have to win all your goal races, which can be tough sometimes. But really, this is like run the Japan Cup, right, twice. Run the Shuka Show and run the Hanshin Juvenile Phillies. Now, that's still a lot on top of winning all of your goal races. But you do get head-on and unyielding spirit out of it, right? And plus 15 to all stats and 50 skill points. Like, this is a very powerful secret event that is at least doable, right? This is not the most reliable thing. Every single Daiwa run ever, I'm going to get this. But she can do this. Unlike unlike Vodka, who essentially is never going to pop her secret event, Scarlet can actually do it, right? And it gives her head-on, which is a very key acceleration for paces. So if you want to run her pace, you can grab head on. If you want to run her front, you grab angling and scheming, right? She comes with, again, a lot of mid-race velocity. Her ult is good to great, right? To me, Daiwa is either great but hard to build in that you kind of have to, a lot of the times, build a comp around her a little bit, or she's just great. I'm not sure. It's one of the two. I feel like for Daiwa to justify her spot in your lineup a lot of the times, it's because you want the highest high she can get to, which is probably you need to build your comp explicitly around not getting in the way of her popping her ultimate at the perfect time. And you also might need to hope for particular lobby compositions as well, right? To try and either get that late pop on your ultimate or not, just in general have an easier time doing it at the time that you want it to activate. I think this character has one of the highest ceilings of any Uma in the game, right? Like, bad growths, sure, right? But good aptitude, amazing potentially ult, right? And pretty solid kit and access to the pace acceleration as well, right? She has one of the highest ceilings in the game, but I think he's probably going to be, he's only going to be great if you put a lot of work into how exactly she's going to pop her ult. You don't just run Daiwa, right? You can, but I think if you're just like, Daiwa's on my team and I just put her on my team, she's only going to be okay a lot of the time, will be my guess. Taiki Shuttle. Taiki Shuttle, I'm just going to tell you right now, is great but highly situational. She's just vodka but better, right? Taiki is vodka with a consistent acceleration instead of a bad ult, unfortunately, right? We can look at Taiki real quick, but Taiki is a horse that is really only good on miles, right? Even on sprints, on a lot of sprints, her life can be a little tough, right? But she's got 20% speed, 10% wit, which is great, especially because her ult has a positioning requirement on it. Not the hardest in the world, right? But it does. And she is primarily a pace chaser. Of course, Queuing for Victory, we all know if she's third or fourth in the later half of the final corner, she gets a shit ton of acceleration. This will often carry over for a pretty good amount of time on miles, and this, because she can't actually be first or second, right? So a lot of the times, if you build her correctly and you load her up with as much mid-race as possible, in certain lobbies she late activates and it's even worse. Taiki is the best mile horse in the game. I have not been swayed off of the idea that for every mile CM we've had so far, which is 2 of them, since she's gotten the change to her ultimates, Taiki has been the strongest mile horse, right? She has changing gears built in, right? Really good, because mid-race is what you need for her. Her ult will do the rest. If you grab the mid-race, her ult will do the rest, right? But so she comes with changing gears, she comes with mile straightaways. Mile Maven is not mid-race, but it can still be nice as like a pace downbreaker early to get you in good position early on. She gets prepared to pass, she gets head on, right? Taiki is, she's pretty literally worthless everywhere else. Even in the sprint CM, she wasn't good, right? Maybe on certain sprint tracks she would be. She's completely worthless on mediums and longs, if you could even convince her to run those. But she's just the strongest mile horse in the game, I think. Yeah, like, the only knock you could have against her is that there is interactability on her ult. You can just slam 7 fronts in a lobby and Taiki probably dies. But if that's what we're doing, then I think that is a pretty good indication that she's very, very strong, right? And if anything, this is like one of the only knocks against vodka is like, you know, if you're running like 1 Oshi and 1 meta kit, worthless on medium is insane. She was Bermuda. Oh, it's medium E. I thought this was medium F. I thought this was medium F. I did think this was medium F, actually. That's not... That is true. That's true. I guess not worthless. Worthless on medium is definitely incorrect. Yeah, you can't get her to run mediums. And on short on a 2000 medium, she's probably quite good in particular, right? Like, the Bermuda was the Tenno show fall, right? Bermuda was the Tenno show fall. It was this. Like on exactly this 2000 or yeah, autumn. Yes. On exactly this 2000 meter medium, she was pretty good, right? I think you're really underrating her if you're going to put Gold Chip so high for being a long merchant. I think Gold Chip is pretty good on longs and mediums, right? This character is not like she's only good in like the Armakinan or some shit, right? I think she's good on like 2 of the most common distances in the game. And I mean, if anything, you could argue that the ways that Gold Chip is good as well are better than the ways that Taiki is good, genuinely, right? You could make that argument because you can't stop Gold Chip from doing the thing she's going to do to win, but you can build around stopping Taiki from doing the same thing. Yeah? Her unique wins games and she gets head-on free. That's true. I mean, maybe Taiki should be... she gets head, got auto-modded, that is funny. Maybe Taiki should be just great, honestly. But I do think that by, like... Yeah, I understand Bermuda, but again, that was specifically the 2000 meter medium, right? Which, like, in the same way you could kind of argue that, like, the Armakinan is a medium, this is basically a fucking mile race, right? I just can't see her next to Vodka with such a strong unique. I guess that's valid. I guess that is valid. At the end of the day, if you're, like, she's not great on miles. She is the best mile horse in the game, right? She is the best mile horse in the game, right? And she gets to run dirt races, too. So, yeah, miles do kind of, you double dip a little bit. Yeah, this is where like it gets a little weird to make this tier list with all the different CMs, but like she is literally the best mile horse in the game. It's not that she's not locked to mile, like it's not like, oh, she's good on miles and bad everywhere else. No. She is the single best mile horse. She is meta defining for every single mile CM and probably will continue to be for a long time, right? So yeah, it's a little different. Vodka is great on miles. Yes, Vodka is like good. Like, if it's a mile CM, you're probably looking at Vodka. You might be like, oh, maybe I'll put a Vodka on my team, especially if you're a late surger player, right? You're probably looking to put a Vodka on your team. But that's like, she's pretty bad elsewhere and pretty good on mile. Taiki is, again, the single best mile horse in the entire game without too much discussion, I think, right? So, Fair. I think being best in class at something is enough to put you Eclipse first, the rest nowhere. I think that's valid. Grass Wanda. Because she has 4 miles, she has literally everything you want. Good aptitudes, good growths, perfect kit, amazing ultimate. Yeah, it's kind of silly. You're right. Again, good aptitude growth. We love 20% speed, 10% power, right? Lets you just get the power you need out of speed clicks, and you can fill in the rest. Pretty good aptitude spread as well. Can run miles, mediums, and longs, and can pace or late. So again, on those longs, she can backline. And in fact, I think she's primarily built towards backlining, if I remember. We might continue this tomorrow, by the way. I just realized we've gotten through what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Uma. We have 60 to go, and it's been an hour. Yeah. I think we're gonna do this over 2 days, and then I'm gonna have to cut this shit down tremendously if I want to make a video out of it. But yes, we have gone through 6, 7, and we have 67 total. Okay. Grass Wonder's ultimate. When you are on the final straight and you are 3rd or worse, you get really not, and someone passes you. No, you pass someone else. Yeah, I always forget which way this angle bracket goes, right? But we just finished the make debut ticket. Yeah, we're not getting through this shit today. I gotta go at like 9-ish too. But yeah, then you get not very much speed at all. I will say, right? This is why is this a point? I mean, oh no, right, no. I was like, it's not a 0.25, is it? No, yeah, it's a 0.35. I was gonna like, it's not a 0.25. I was looking at the unevolved ultimate. Yeah. I mean, yeah. This is basically worse. This is kind of worse tail step, I guess. It's all right. Whereas it's a pretty mid ultimate, I would say. It's a finisher, but again, it's a 0.35, and the conditions are strict-ish, right? You have to be 3rd or worse on the final straight, and you have to pass someone for it to activate. It can happen. It's not like it's not like super hard to activate or anything like that. But the reward you get for a slightly restricted ult is not very good, right? I will call this ult and then obviously the big thing about Grass Wonder is the Dominator horse, right? So her primary value is going to be on those mediums, is you late surge her out. She does come with On Your Left built in as well, right? Which is certainly nice. She comes with one of the core excels for her, in fact, outside of Miles, kind of the only core excel for her strategy, as well as some mid-race and Dominator. Homestretch Haste, I'm not the biggest fan of, right? Certainly. But, you know, the rest of her kit is very solid, right? She can also grab up-tempo and 1.5 million CC, I believe, both from... Oh, the secret event is up-tempo. 1.5 million CC, I'm actually not sure. It must be after a race of sorts. Or maybe off one of these. Must be off one of these, right? Competitive Spirit. Yeah, there you go. 1.5 million CC. You lose some energy for it, but you just get 30 guts. Yeah, it's something. But yeah, I think Grass's kit overall is pretty solid. Dominator is still a very nice skill. The fact this is a current speed debuff means that on a medium, this is a lot of the time 6-7 seconds of minus 0.25, which is, it does translate directly into lengths for your entire team, is the nice part about it, right? Like, obviously, this would be just worse than an equivalent golden speed skill that would give this particular horse more speed for the same amount of time, but this does translate into lengths for your entire team, so Dominator is quite nice, especially if you want to build around stacking it or something like that. Current speed is really the magic number here, right? This is just going to be like 3/4 of a length per activation. I can't believe this horse is underwhelming. On paper, she looks fine. The problem is really her ult, right? This is my problem. The reason that... So, yeah, you know, spoiler. I think Grass Wonder is fine. I think Grass Wonder is fine. My problem with Grass Wonder is I find that a lot of the times I feel like building shit that just wins is often better than building shit that wins by making other people lose. You know what I mean? Like, while Dominator is a good skill, it's a very good skill, right? I feel like you might be better served just spending those 360 skill points on like more mid-race or like another Excel or something like that for yourself. Grass Wonder is kind of like a little hybrid debuffer with a bad ult, is I think her main issue. Her growths, though, are great. Her aptitudes are great. Her ult is and her kit is fine. It's fine. I mean, it's good. Coming with On Your Left, even if you're gonna say Dominator is not the best thing in the world, coming with On Your Left and some mid-race is really nice, right? I think Grass Wonder is... If you build a team comp, if you like build a late surger, like triple, double Dominator team comp, then I think it can stack and become really good, right? So I think I want to put Grass Wonder in great but hard to build, because again, I feel like you're not just going to slap Grass Wonder on your team and it's gonna work. I don't think it's an amazing team comp, but certainly there are 3 different Dominators that we have now, right? We got someone else recently, because Rudolph has it. Yeah, it's you. Oh, and Tachyon as well? Yeah. If you want to do some kind of triple dominator strategy, and then that kind of is kind of like all three of those horses all activated, like 3 skills in that moment, then maybe you could make it work, and I think it could be quite strong. But again, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to build the entire comp around triple late surge or triple dominator and going from there. So hard to build is maybe maybe a bit of a misnomer here. Maybe this is better to say like hard to make work, right? Because getting a Grass Wonder that's passable is fine, but the fact that you have to build the team around the win condition, I think, is a little bit of a knock on her, right? I think you will be quite strong if you do that, though. Mejiro McQueen. Her only purpose is to increase your Oshi's solo win rate. I mean, maybe that's a valid purpose. The strongest stayer in history. They're calling her the strongest stayer in history. Obviously, yeah, long and medium, even like more so tilted towards long horse, right? 20% stamina, 10% wit. We fuck with it. She's a pace chaser primarily. I mean, she could front, I guess, but like front B, you'll feel a lot more than B on any of the other aptitudes. And also, I mean, it's a long horse. Why the fuck are you running long? Are you running pace? If anything, right? If you can get this this lady to late surge, it might even be a better idea. But I think that will conflict with her ultimate a little bit. So Doki Doki Literature Club is an interesting little guy. Right, DDLC, Duty of Dignity calls here. 20% stamina. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's certain. If it makes her a long merchant, I think. But it does let you build your deck in more flexible ways if you're on those really long longs, right? She is quite specialized though, certainly. On the final corner, right? On the final corner, if you are within 30% of the pack distance-wise, like distance diff rate is, again, if you don't know, it's literally like if this is the Uma in first and this is the Uma in last and this is the distance between them, right? Then you have to be, you know, no more than 30% of the way through this line, right? To have this activate. I would rather 20 guts than 20 stam. Nah, I disagree. I disagree bigly. But the conditions on the Salt are not, basically, if you're pace chasing, this will activate on the final corner, right? It's rare that this will not just activate. Now, with that being said, this is on the races that she is more specialized towards. This is basically just going to be some finishing speed. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's nothing amazing, right? Again, this is a little, like, I would call this a little worse than Pulse, basically. If we're saying that Pulse is kind of the baseline for everything, this is some finishing speed. It's all right, right? Now, with that in mind, she comes with Spring Runner. Obviously, Spring Tenno Show was her big thing, right? Keeping the lead is a, I believe, velocity skill for longs. Yeah, Saiyan Sky has the Vanguard, the gold version of this. I think, does she as well? Yeah, Vanguard Spirit. Yeah, there you go. If you're already first, right? So I will say, this is kind of weird because she's a pace chaser. Like, this is a lot better on Saiyan Sky than it is on her. Because she is primarily a pace chaser. So it's a little odd that she has this skill that requires her to be in first. So I would say it's a bit of an oddity in her kit. You could certainly have her front run, but again, if she's front running and she's not popping like Saiyan Sky Ultimate as Saiyan Sky, what are you doing with her? Long corners though is certainly nice, right? And she comes with Calm and Collected as well, which used to be a terrible recovery and is now a good recovery. It happens in the second half of the early race, so this is basically just a gold recovery that comes on her if she's a pace chaser. Her kit's a little eh. Her kit's a little eh. Her ult's a little eh. Her aptitudes are a little eh. And well, her the fact she can't run miles is a little eh, certainly, right? McQueen is just kind of fine a lot of the time. Funnily enough, on miles, her ult can be a little bit nice for speed carryover, right? On like longer tracks with 20 stam, I mean, you can drop a stam card for something else. Yeah, I mean, Vayne is going real hard on the 20% stam growth in the chat. I feel like while it's certainly not great, on like 3,000 and higher, it is nice because it lets you drop some stam sparks. It lets you drop like a stam card. Like this kind of shit lets you hit your stam goals on like gold chip with only Rico, even if it's like the Kika show. You know what I mean? On the really long races, this does matter, but this like a lot of stuff in her kit is essentially specializing her just to those longs. And then I feel like the problem is that on those longs, she's a pace chaser, right? She can make it work for sure, but like her kit is kind of weird. She doesn't come with head on. Her ult is only okay. McQueen is a little underwhelming to me. She's fine, right? It's like she has a niche and she's fine in that niche, right? She's fine. in that niche, I would say. All right, Er Condor Pasa. This is a weird one, right? Because Pasa is kind of like Taiki, but worse, essentially. Er Condor Pasa. Pasa is a mile medium long horse again, right? She can run dirts just like Taiki, right? She can run pace or late, though most of the time because of her ultimate, you're gonna want to run her pace or maybe even front sometimes, right? 20% speed, 10% wit. We love these growths. Wit again is gonna be very important for Pasa in particular because her ultimate is very good, kind of. Her ultimate is a 0.3 excel that activates on the final straight. So for miles in particular, and so I think mostly miles, right? Like even like the 10-0 show, yeah, like even the 10-0 show fall is already, the final straight's a little too far gone, right? So on miles, her ultimate can be when this pops, this will be better than Taiki shooting for victory often, right? Because the final straight will be right in the acceleration zone on most miles, and even though it's only 0.3, she'll get many more seconds out of this 0.3, right? Taiki will often get like 2 to 4 seconds out of acceleration out of her ult, whereas Pasa will get it for the whole acceleration zone if it activates. The problem with this is she has to be second or first, right? And she's a pace chaser by default. So this is an incredibly interactable win condition. If you just run some fronts like for fun, then she's going to have a really hard time with this. Now, it could still work, right? It could still work, and certainly with particular lobby compositions, or if you build, like if you really just spec everything into as much wit and mid race as you can, and you get a lucky run to get all that mid race, and maybe you run into a lobby with not that many fronts, or you just get a lucky race or something. When this ult activates, it will just win her the run a lot of the time, right? But I do think, by the way, as far as her kits, Clairvoyance is kind of, she comes with up tempo for mediums, which is a little weird because again, this is mostly a mile horse. She can work on mediums. She certainly can, right? But at that point, Plancha becomes essentially a speed skill. It becomes a closing speed skill, which isn't bad, but it's only 0.25 at that point, which is kind of bad, right? So her kit is not great, honestly. I guess it's nice that she has Calm and Collected if you want to run her for like a long, but again, I mean, I guess you could run late surge Pasa with, but no, then you can't run Calm and Collected, right? So her kit's a little wonky. Her growths are good, her aptitudes are good, her ult is really good if you can make it work, but I do think that, it's weird. She fits into both of these camps, so I feel like she'd give her a bit of a knock, right? Like, she's situational in that it's only good on miles, and then on miles, it's hard to make work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like genuinely, I need to make another tier that is just, like, great, but highly situational and hard to make work. I mean, is this just underwhelming? You could make an argument that this should just be underwhelming then, but I do think that there is at least a win condition to build towards here. You know what I mean? Her ceiling is so fucking high though, exactly, which is why I feel like I don't want to say she's just underwhelming. You could make an argument for that, I think, but I feel like it's just the win condition is so strong that it's at least worth trying. And she can essentially function as a bit of a Gambo win con, right? In lobbies that don't have a lot of fronts or something like that, then she gets a lot better, right? Highly situational and hard to make work, but it's really good. High ceiling with an even higher floor? I don't know. I assume you mean lower floor. High ceiling with a high floor would be the best Uma in the game, right? It's weird. Underwhelming to me. There's something of note in this horse, right? Like, it's not like we're just talking, oh, well, you know, there's just nothing really here. You just have to, like, she doesn't really provide anything. You have to do all the work for her. She does provide a very strong win condition. It's just you really have to build around making that shit work. And sometimes it's still just going to be out of your hands. And it only works on the one distance, right? So I feel like that definitely they'll make her worse than someone who's just, like, more consistent but not as good. But I don't think it quite gets her into underwhelming yet, right? I might get rid of this Oshi PvP tier. I guess use terms differently. I say she has a high floor because she has no good golds in her kit, while other Umas who I would call low floor, like Taiki, just get it all. Well, no, low floor, the floor is the worst you'll ever be, right? Like the floor of something is the worst it gets, yeah? So having, like, a bunch of good skills built into your kit would raise your floor because it means that you need less RNG, you need less of a high roll for the run to be good. You know what I mean? So Taiki is a low floor, Taiki is a high floor, high ceiling Uma on miles. That's why she's ridiculous, right? Like, the worst case scenario for her ult is still really good, and the best case scenario is better than Pasa, and she has all the kits, so like the RNG for building her is really easy as well. Pasa has a really high ceiling, but her floor is really low, right? I have to hold that against her for sure, and I think it's certainly, it's panning out that she is not, you know, the sprint CM was like the sprint CM was like the ideal situation for Pasa almost, in that there were almost no fronts running around because they had a bit of a hard time, and it was still really hard to get that horse's ultimate to activate. It happened, right? And when it did happen, she did very well, but Pasa needs like, Pasa would need this kit, like genuinely, this kit would have to be like 4 mid-race velocity skills. You know what I mean? I need like 4, like I need her to have like Taiki, I need her to have like changing gears, and like mile corners and mile straightaways and like another, and like speed star or something like that, and then we could talk, right? If her kit was like every good mid-race skill for paces in the game, then I think that would make it at least more conceivable to do what she needs to do. But Mile Mave maybe a dirt skill too. Yeah. She does not strike me as very strong if you are running into lobbies of people who know that she exists, right? Because obviously the one that you could, like, one thing is you could say, you know, the existence of characters like Taiki and Pasa on Mile, they kind of nerf backliners a lot, right? The idea of running late surgers and end closers, they can work. Obviously, they're very good on Mile, both of them. But the idea of running both of those strategies gets a little bit worse feeling when you realize that by doing that, you're playing into Taiki, you're playing into Pasa, right? So they do, like, she does still have a, and now Taiki's doing most of the work there. Taiki is the fucking black hole that is warping your team builds around her, right? But Pasa is still, she has a little bit of a gravitational pull there, right? I feel like I have to give her some flowers, but she feels, yeah, like she feels like she needs a little bit of help, maybe. Rudolph. Behold the 9 Emperors' divine might. We're almost out of the fucking make debut ticket. Symboli Rudolph original. Hello. Again, 20% stamina. Oh, this is bad, man. She at the very least has a unique that wins her the game. Yes, exactly. She has a win condition. It's a bad one. This is a, yeah. You know what? El Condor Pasa is an Exodia deck. She has a win condition, and it gets you, it gives you something to build towards, but you're just not gonna hit that win. She's like a really inconsistent combo deck. When it hits, though, you win the game on the spot, right? Exodia Pasa, yeah. Pasa is just, he's an Exodia deck. All right, 20% stam, 10% guts. This is tough, man. Like, I think 20% stam on the really long longs is nice, but like both of these, brother, I don't know, man. I don't need any, I don't got anything, right? Hitting the ult, though, I mean, drawing all 5 pieces of Exodia. Someone help me. She is at least a backliner for these longs, right? Which helps a lot. Behold that Emperor's Divine Might. On the final straight, if you've passed 3 people, the only thing worse will be 20 guts, 10 stam. Agreed, yes. If you pass 3 people in the late race, which is, you're a late surger, this is going to happen all the time, right? This is not really, it's a condition, but it's not really a condition. Then you get a greatly increased velocity on the final straight, which again, since you're primarily a long horse here, that is closing velocity. This is good, right? This is a good ult. This is Pulse comparable, right? Arguably, this is better, like the effect you're going to get out of this is going to be better than Pulse because you're going to get more time out of this. The final straight on these longs is usually longer than 200 meters, right? But I mean, this is 3,400. It's a little bit unfair. If we went to, like, the Kika Show is a great, like, example of it. It's 3,000. It's long, but it's not quite ridiculously so, right? Like, the final straight here, I believe, is 400 meters long. Yeah, right? So you will get the full value out of this ult compared to Pulse, but I guess there is a chance that this doesn't happen, right? This is a great ult, though, as expected, right? Rudolph has a very, very strong ult on her. I would say this is probably better than Pulse on average, but it's only, the big thing is it's mostly only restrict on longs. It's better than Pulse. It's not, Pulse obviously has the benefit of being, it's good on sprint and mile and medium and everything. This is mostly good on long, mediums, and longs. Yeah. Rudolph probably play end on long. Yeah. Having to put the 4 stars in here is a little annoying, but I mean, late certainly works just fine as well, right? Lates and ends have almost the exact same coefficient on longs, so there's no problem there. It's just that your what's it called is going to be a little bit more inconsistent. Your acceleration on lates, right? And then we have the rest of her kit. Rudolph is not Oshi PvP. I don't think so. Corner Adept is nice. It's nice that she comes with Corner Adept, right? That is the mid-race skill, right? Give you some discounts on your Kita-san, giving you curvature. Rudolph is another Dominator character, right? Again, on mediums, if you want, you can certainly build something around this. Oh yeah, she just comes with curvature and pace corners. Now, man, since she's a long specialized Uma, and she has Dominator as well, I would love if this was like late Surger corners, I will say. I feel like, by and large, this character is probably at her best as a late Surger, as a backliner, right? It's also a lot easier to meet the conditions for her ultimate if you're late Surging. So Pace Chaser corners is a little tough on her, but obviously having Curvature built in, Dominator as an option to build around is nice, right? Rudolph's weird. Her ult is, in certain situations, really good. Like, on a long, this is just way better than Pulse, right? Her aptitudes are fine. She runs mediums and longs, and you can get her on miles very easily as well, right? You can even get her on sprints, I guess. Short E, right? You can get her on sprints as well. So her aptitudes are actually quite good. Her growths are terrible. Her ult is really good in certain situations, and her kit is good. I mean, it's nice to come with Curvature, but I mean, it's also one of the least... It's like coming with Swinging Maestro on a Stam unit, you know? It's like everyone's gonna have this anyway, so you kind of don't come with any... Yeah, I guess, yeah, you kind of don't come with anything. The Corner Adept, if you could, like, get some hints on it through the books, could be nice, but this is a little bit of a nothing burger, because, like, guess what? Guess who else has Professor of Curvature? Literally fucking everyone. Because everyone's running Kita-san in every deck they have, all of the time, for every CM, for every horse, for every distance, for every strategy. So, her kit is, her ult is really good in certain situations. Her growths are, I mean, I guess, only when they don't hit. Yeah, I mean, if you get the run where Kita-san doesn't complete her event chain, then sure, but I don't think it's worth that much. If we're going to evaluate Rudolph as like a hyper specialized long horse, then the growths are not the worst thing in the world. You can like turbo ignore your stamina because you'll have more guts as well, right? Guts is also better on long tracks because the final straight is longer, so dueling is better, right? So like her growths are, I think basically if we were judging Rudolph as like an all-rounder, she's kind of underwhelming. But if we're gonna say that you're running Rudolph on like 3,000 meter and longer races, I feel like her ult alone is kind of good enough to justify putting her here, right? She has, on like the Kika show and longer, she has significantly better Triumphant Pulse. You know what I mean? She has significantly better Triumphant Pulse, and her growths are at least decent at that point. Of course, then that kind of risks her Dominator. I guess then that makes Dominator kind of worthless. But the fact that she is a backliner as well is nice, right? I don't know, man. I think that ult is really nice. Like if you think about the fact, like let's like translate this ult. This will activate on a long, right? By the time you get to the final corner, on the Kika show, this is 15 seconds of 0.45. You're gonna get the full value out of that going for 400 meters, right? Probably. What's 400 over like 24? 400 over 24? Yeah. So you are straight up. Straight up, this ultimate is 3 lengths. You know what I mean? No, I understand. Yeah, the rest of her is not very good. But this ult is 3 lengths on a long. When this pops. Like, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's only on really long races, right? Like, you need the Kika show or longer. But on those giga long races, her aptitudes don't feel quite as terrible anymore. And her ult is real nice. You're kinder than I am, Brick? I don't know, man. I think you're sleeping on a guaranteed non-wit check that gives you 3 lengths. Right? Like, think about the fact is like, oh, what if she just came with 2 different gold skills in her kit, like 2 incredible gold mid-race skills in her kit, right? Those would add up to about the same as just her ult activating. Yeah? And it happens on not a wit check. I'm putting her on underwhelming and moving special peak to Oshi. Again, to me, if you have something, you go in underwhelming. Oshi is you have to have literally nothing. Right? What does special shit even do? Her ult is okay, she can get Slick Surge. Her ult is kind of bad, but it does something and she can get Slick Surge. Right? And her kit is... She has skills that you might buy on your runs built into her kit. She's not very good. There's a solid... She's worse than Teo and McQueen, for sure, right? There's only 1 horse with literally nothing. Yeah, so again, I might just have to rename that to Haru Urara and rename this to Oshi PvP. It is valid, right? It is valid that... In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll stop burying the lead. Maybe this really should just be... Oh. Haru, our daughter. I think you mean Mummy Creek. That's actually true. Maybe Mummy Creek goes in Haru, our daughter. That's actually valid. They really hate Mummy Creek, man. Let's keep going. Eguruvu. 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 Let's talk about Eguruvu. So here's the thing, right? Air Groove is again, good aptitudes. You can run anything, right? Again, E is, for distances, E is the minimum, right? Yeah, she can run anything, which is nice. She can pace or late, which is nice, right? This, to me, is one of the best strategy splits, because there are a lot of races, like, on some of those longer tracks, you might want to backline more, but it's nice to have the option to be a pace chaser as well, right? Growths are fine. Again, this is one of those ones where I'd much rather she had 20% speed, 10% power, but, yeah. Her ult is actually quite nice, right? Essentially, if she is worse than third and she passes someone, right, on the final corner, she gets speed. This can either be some closing velocity for longer races, in which case it's not very good, it's okay, right? Alternatively, in a lot of like miles and sprints and things like this can be speed carryover, right? It's a little gamba, right? It's a little gamba. Certainly sometimes this activates at bad times. But this can be speed carryover, which is really nice when that happens. And also, it's just a mid-race velocity skill on a late surger, which I think is pretty nice. Because again, if a late surger or an end closer, if they have a really good mid-race, and they I had runs in the sprint CM where Air Groove ended up in like second or first by the time the late race rolled around because she popped this ult at a good time. Good luck, man, right? Good luck when the fucking late surger beats you to angling and scheming. How are you going to make up that coefficient diff? Right? So this is a nice ult. It's a nice ult. It's a little inconsistent. It can activate. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it doesn't activate at all, by the way. Right? This can be a thing where, sometimes you don't pass someone on the final corner, depending on how long you have for that to be relevant. But most of the time, this is at least good. As far as her kit, there's a lot of debuffs in here, which is real bad. Right? This is where I feel like Air Groove kind of gets hit with the bat a little bit. Is like, go with the flow is not really good. Up tempo's fine, right? But she's also a late if you're late surging, it does nothing, right? Disorient, who cares? Hesitant end closer, who cares? Gold disorient, who cares? Flustered end closers, who cares? Lane ledger to the main, who cares? Right? Like, she's an amazing team trials horse. What does the field of view debuff even do? I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess it'll make it more likely that you don't switch if someone's to the left of you, like run into them and get blocked. It's a nice nature debuff nerf. I don't know. But she's a great team trials horse, basically. As far as home pace, yes. As far as Air Groove, basically, her aptitudes are nice, her growths are okay, and her ultimate can be really good sometimes. She's alright, right? I don't think there's something where she really excels, right? Like, even on sprints, she's certainly not bad on sprints, right? But even then, it is often just, to be fair, everyone's gambaying on sprints, right? But she is just oftentimes you're gambaying on hitting Blazing Pride in a moment that gives her speed carryover. She might be the best of the OC PvP horses that we found so far, right? But she mostly is going to just be carried by being a late surger on those shorter tracks, right? Like in the sprint CM, for me, she was carried by on your left being the best acceleration for that CM. She didn't really bring too much to the table. Though Blazing Pride is sometimes really nice, certainly, right? Every now and then, Blazing Pride is going to activate at a really good moment, and you're going to be thankful for it, but... Alright, Mayano Chopped Gun. I hate you, but you're really good. Like, I hate building you, because every time I build you on a long CM, I don't like you. But you're not really good, but you're good, at least. Let's look at Mayano Top Gun. So, interesting thing about Mayano Top Gun, right? Her ult is interesting. Her ult, if someone is trying to pass you, basically, if you're blocked on the sides, tragically really good. Yes. If you're blocked on the side and you're third or better, I guess this can also be you passing someone, but most of the time, this is going to be someone passing you. You get some speed and excel. Again, if this pops on the final corner, if the final corner is early into the late race, then this can be some really good acceleration, but it's kind of out of your hands whether or not it does pop. When it does happen, though, it's great, right? This is very out of your control. A lot of the time, this will also just on the longs that she tends to run. By the way, as far as aptitudes, she can run anything, which is nice, right? Again, long, she can run. Medium, she can run. Mile, short, and she can do every aptitude in the game, right? Her growths, yeah. Most of the time, you're going to be running her on the longest of the long, right? It's kind of tough if you want to bring her to a sprint and she's rocking 20% stamina, 10% guts, right? So again, she is one of those like probably long longs, and maybe like the Tokyo Derby or something is where she's gonna really excel. But yeah, her ult is completely out of your hands, kind of, but it can activate and be nuts sometimes if someone tries to pass you at an opportune time. Timu gold ship in some ways, right? Now, of course, she comes with nimble nav and no stopping me. Again, currently, like, if we weren't an Aoharu, I probably would move gold chip down, right? I probably would move gold chip down, but guess what, man? We are an Aoharu, which means that the no stopping me for now is not very good, right? Like, the fact that she comes with this kind of doesn't do anything, because if you're on an Aoharu run where you lose finals, that probably isn't your CM horse anyway, right? You probably are. That probably is not going to be the horse to bring it to CM regardless. So, as amazing as no stopping me is for what she wants, the current scenario means it doesn't really matter. This is kind of this is like Rudolph coming with curvature, right? Now, 2 weeks from now, this is gonna be great that she comes with this. Don't get it twisted. But right now, I think she does get hurt by the fact that this is her gold skill, and then her other one is fucking breath of fresh air. Her other one is fucking breath of fresh air, which is I fucking hate this, right? I was gonna say Mant final boss because of NSM, but you can't get the Excel event. Well, no, she has it built in. You don't have to get an Excel, right? Just wait till they buff it. Sure. For now, it's garbage, right? Most of the time that I build Maya for these longs, I try to overstam her to the point that she doesn't need this. I can get away with like corner recovery and that's it or something, right? But yeah, her kit is unfortunately kind of garbage. I know NSM, but for now, doesn't matter. It's garbage that she has this, right? Her kit is kind of garbage. Her ult is fine. Her ult is fine to great, but it's entirely out of your hands, right? It's very rare that it's ever going to be worse than fine, but sometimes it just won't activate at all, too, I guess. I have definitely had lots of runs with Maya where this just never activates, right? But, oh well. And then, of course, the real big thing about Maya, there's two things. One, with her secret event, you can get every important acceleration in the game, which, well, obviously, for fronts, you have angling and scheming, but you can get head-on, slick surge, and spurt. Final push is still nice, though, right? It's still nice if you can get that. And most of the time, it's probably going to be spurts, is what you end up getting with this. This is really nice. She, as a backliner that is mostly on longs, is something I should hold against Rudolph a little bit, too. It's a little rough that you can't get Uma stand, but, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. But it is nice that she has easy access to any Excel that you might want. The secret event for this is a joke, right? You have to win a G1 with every strategy. This is... You have to try to not do this. I don't think I've ever been going for this and failed it. You know what I mean? Especially if you are racing. And that was before I even started racing more, right? You have to like try to not get this to happen by the time that the career is over. So this is essentially just has these in her kit, basically for free. And of course, the big thing is, where is Maya's? Maya will teach you? No, Maya's race class. Where is her fast learner event? Maya's love advice. Yeah, this is on an Agamasen, right? Yeah, kind of. Like this is at. Is it 5? If this activates and you have 500 or more wit, this is guaranteed fast learner. And then the closer you are to 500, the higher odds you... Like, it's not just if you don't have 500, you don't get it. It's like if you have, like, 450, it's still a pretty good shot, right? Yeah. I think it's an Agamasen rate, like Curvature or, like, Speed Star and Fine Motion or something. Oh, no. I think Curvature is... You always get Curvature, but I think the 10-10 or the 5-5 is still determined by how much speed you have. But, like, Speed Star off Fine Motion or, like, Race Planner or something like that is the big one. So this is really good. Fast Learner is the best status in the game. I mean, maybe like turn 1 Charming would be better, right? But Fast Learner is like the best status in the game, probably. And it only gets better as we get deeper into the meta. So the fact that she just gets this, it is, again, entirely out of your hands. But this event will at least pop on a lot of the runs that you have. Like, in my experience, most Maya runs that you run, you'll get this event. Maybe like 60%, 70% of them will pop it. And then, you know, half the time this gives you Fast Learner or something. If Maya has like, this obviously I made those numbers up, but say that that's true and Maya has like a 30% incidence rate of hitting Fast Learner, most other horses are like less than 10%. Yes? Like most other horses are like a 3% chance to get Fast Learner per run or something like that, it feels like, right? Because you have to get their like special, like the double mood up event. Feels like it's like a 5% chance to hit Fast Learner and it doesn't happen every run. And then some of them have costume events that give them Fast Learner, but those also feel like a 10% chance to get that or something. So Maya hits Fast Learner more than any other horse in the game, and it's just the best status in the game, right? Everything else about her is kind of... And she can get spurts pretty freely, right? Everything else about her is kind of terrible. However, right? Everything else about her is a little ass. Her growths are bad. Her aptitudes are amazing, but her growths kind of mean that you can't make the most of her aptitudes a lot of the time, right? Her ult is completely out of your hands in whether it even activates and how good it is when it activates. Her kit is essentially entirely useless for the Alharu meta, but she comes with an acceleration and fast learner. Honestly, just that by itself might make her great, but hard to make work. And then you're gonna have to build around getting getting her the stats. I found that getting the stats that you need on this Uma is tough because of her growths. And you also have to find below Daiwa for sure. That's valid. You have to often find build your deck around getting her any good hints at all. You'd have to get her Uma stand somehow a lot of the time, right? As it turns out, having a guaranteed excel, being an end closer, unironically, and for longs, being an end closer, having spurts guaranteed, and having the highest incidence of fast learner in the game is enough to at least make her worth looking at. But man, do I hate building her so much, right? So yes, definitely a great but hard to make work angle. Mejiro Ryan. Let's talk about Mejiro Ryan here. Let's see. Obviously, as a parent, Ryan is very the mainstay, right, for lates. But even as a horse herself, 20% power, 10% wit. No speed growth is always a rough sell, right? But again, this is one of those things where okay, with 20% power, you can definitely just load up 3 speed cards on her. And the wit growth means you don't have to load quite as many wit cards up to get what you need, right? But you can at least just smash speed with no power sparks at all, and you're gonna get good power if you get her to a good amount of speed, right? So it's not my favorite growths, but they work, right? It's fine. She can run everything, right? She can run sprints, miles, mediums, longs. Of course, on sprints, you shouldn't run her because her ult does nothing. But she can run miles, mediums, and longs, at least, pretty competently. And she can late or pace. Most of the time, you're probably going to be running her late. Almost all the time, you're probably going to be running her late, but I guess it's nice to have that flexibility. Of course, Iron is Iron. It's the Gamba ult. If you are an exactly 6th, and you are in the late race on a corner, then you get this. When you're in the position to hit this, she wins, right? This is kind of the ultimate Gamba ult, though. However, I think there's a little bit more. Is this possible for longer tracks? Well, no. I think there's a little bit more than meets the eye with Mejiro Ryan, and it's mostly because she has a lot of mid-race in her kit, right? She has Rising Dragon, which is, the best mid-race speed skill for late surgers. This is really good on miles and mediums. And on longs, this is mostly closing velocity, I guess. But on miles and mediums, this is really, really nice. And Killer Tunes is really nice on mediums as well, right? And yes, it is true. It's actually much easier for Ryan to be 6th than it is for Pasa to be 1st or 2nd, genuinely, right? You can't really do much about it, but it's kind of another contingency of you're Ryan, you should be trying to get her as far up as possible anyway, right? But if she has a bad mid-race and she hits exactly 6th, then she just teleports to 1st place, right? It's she has a secondary on your left that is less consistent, but even more powerful, right? So she has another contingency for a bad mid-race. Then she comes with 2 really good mid-race skills. It is a shame this is locked to medium, but Rising Dragon works everywhere, right? And Rising Dragon is incredible. It's on every time you run late surges, you can have Rising Dragon, you want Rising Dragon, right? My dumbass has genuinely thought about running Bamboo Memory every now and then. I don't think it ends up being worth it a lot of the time. But guess what, man? If you can just have it built in, this is great, right? All you have to do is basically it's on the final corner and you're passing someone, which is, guess what? That happens by default on the final corner because that's where you fan out a lot of the time. And then you get, this. It's very nice. It's very nice. So her kit is actually quite nice. She does also have the ability to grab Slick Surge just out of her secret event, right? You have to win the Triple Crown, you get Slick Surge. So she has access to her key acceleration for her strategy. She has a pretty solid kit of mid-race, which is really, with late surgers a lot of the time, you can just get on your left from Nice Nature. You want mid-race on late surgers, right? Because if you get far up enough, you just win a lot of the time. And if you don't get far up enough, then you have contingency excels. It's how the strategy works, right? And then Ryan has the mother of all contingencies. So she's not amazing by any means, right? But I do feel that on a lot of CMs where you might want to run a late surger, you're gonna look at running Ryan, right? I feel like she's fine. She's pretty good. There's no she's pretty well. She's really good, I think, right? She's just great. Right? She doesn't need to pop her ult to win, right? She doesn't need to pop her ult to win. If she pops her ult, she's just the best horse in the game, right? It is nearly impossible to beat Orion that hits Iron at a good time, right? Her ult is at least hittable on almost every track in the game. She's good on mild, she's good on medium, she's good on long, she has good mid-race in her kit, right? She gets easy access to her excel, she has decent growths. He's not like blowing anyone out of the water necessarily, but as a late surger player, it's very rare that like late surgers are an option. I don't at least think about Ryan as one of my top 3 that I might want to run, right? Rice Shawa. Let's talk about the Rice Shawa. Rice Shower is a pace chaser primarily, right? She can front, I guess, but she's mostly a pace chaser. 10% stam, 20% guts. Hey, this is the worst aptitude in the game, unfortunately, right? Like we were talking earlier with 20% stam, 10% guts. The only thing worse would be the opposite. Guess what Rice Shower has? Now she can run everything, I guess, right? She can run every distance, but she is primarily more of a long horse, especially with these aptitudes, right? She can't run dirts, I guess, would be the one thing. Blue Rose Closer is her ultimate. If you've overtaken, the current description is increased velocity with strong willpower on the final straight after passing another runner in the front part of the pack on the final corner or later. So, preconditions, right? Before you can check for these conditions have to have been met, right? While you were on the final corner, you were 4th or better, and you passed someone. And then, if you're on the final straight, then you get 0.35. I mean, this can happen. So like it's not the worst thing. This looks like a lot of conditions. It's not the worst thing in the world. But you may have times where maybe you pass someone after the final corner, right? Or you didn't pass them. You passed them from like 5th to 4th or something like that. But it's not the worst condition in the world. This will a lot of the times this will probably activate if you're pace chasing her, right? It's just that the reward you're getting out of it, the 0.35 is fine, but it's not great, right? Can and maybe, yeah, exactly. Like there are restrictions on this. Like they're not terrible conditions, right? They're not terrible conditions, but there are conditions that are meaningful. This is a restriction you might feel, and the reward for it is not like a greatly increase for 6 seconds or something like that. It's just a generic speed skill. So it's not bad, but it's not good, I would say. This is a ult. Now, Rice is basically a hill merchant, yeah? She comes with cooldown, which is awful. Determined Descent is really the main thing. Rice Shower, if there is a track where the downhill happens in the early part of the late race, then you are probably going to be interested in Rice Shower. I think it is mostly Kyoto, yeah. She comes with Highlander as well, which is nice. But like, if there's a downhill in the early part of the late race, then you're gonna run Rice Shower. Well, you're going to want to. She becomes an option anyway. Determined Descent is really good, right? Now it is Gamba, but depending on where the uphill begins and ends, if it like begins a little bit before the late race and ends like halfway into the late race, then basically every activation of Determined Descent will be at least somewhat useful, right? So I mean that I don't know. I can't think of a great but highly situational that fits more than this, right? It's even more situational than Rudolph and Vodka, right? Because Rudolph and Vodka are certain tracks, whereas Rice is like... Rudolph and Vodka are certain lengths, whereas Rice is a particular track, right? You need, like, very particular tracks where the downhills line up for her. But Determined Descent is acceleration that is essentially... I mean, it's really hard to get outside of Rice Shower, if I remember correctly. In fact, can you even? Yeah, Fine Motion has it, and the Nishino Flower Wit card. Oh! Gives Determined Descent? That actually does hurt her a little bit. This card's not so bad, by the way. Yeah, just guaranteed. This card did come out recently, right? Yeah. This card unironically makes Rice Shower a little worse, huh? Because this is not a bad wit card. It's not a great wit card, right? But like, it's got 30 friendship, right? 50 priority, 30 initial wit. He's a decent stat stick. He comes with Pace Chaser Corners and Determined Descent. Unironically, deadass, the existence of that, mostly a skip card, though. Yeah, but like, in a situation where Determined Descent is that good, I feel like that does actually hurt Rice a little bit, that card exists. Because it used to be kind of like, alright, well, if you want Determined Descent, you play Rice or you kind of go fuck yourself. That does hit her a little bit, but I think it's not enough to knock her into Oshi PvP. It is still nice to not have to borrow that, because you don't have that fucking card, right? It is nice in a situation where Determined Descent will be good to be able to just run Rice and not have to borrow a wit card like that instead of like Fine Mo or something if you're running Pace Chasers. So, Rice is not great a lot of the time, but when those downhills are there, she's great. Great, but highly situational, right? All right. Let's see. Who is next? Agnes Jacking It. Hello, Agnes Jacking It. So, Agnes Jacking It has 20% speed growth, 10% guts. We'll take it. At the end of the day, 20% speed growth, well, it's not so bad. I might rather that 10% be on almost anything else but guts, but 20% speed growth, that still means to me that shit is pretty good. Agnes low cortisol is true. It's true. She can also run everything that isn't a sprint, which is fine. And she's a pace or late surger primarily, right? Another Dominator horse, by the way, something to get out of the way real quick. So if you want your triple Dominator strat from earlier, you run your Grass Wonder, your Agnes Jacking It, and your Symbolic Rudolph, and then we go from there. Now, her ult is interesting. U equals MA squared. They buffed this to make it target speed up as well. But basically, if you are 3rd or 4th and it's halfway through the race, you get some stamina recovery. This can be nice on some of those longer tracks. But I don't know, man. On a long, this can be nice. But on a long, you want a late surge her. And you're probably not hitting this. On a medium, I don't think you need this, man. I don't know. Maybe it can help you. You know what? I guess here's what this can let you do. Because you're not spending... I'm being a little too mean to this ult. Because you're not spending skill points on this, right? It will be a little different if she, like, came with like a gold recovery built in, where like you know, race planner, we could say I'm not gonna take this a lot of the time probably, but exactly what this lets you do is it lets you get away with like diabolically low stam on a lot of those mediums, right? Or even on miles, you basically like you almost don't need stamina, any investment at all on Agnes Tachyon. So actually it is fair. You are going to have to find something good to do. You know, with like you're going to have, and that's probably just getting more speed and more width and things like that. But it is nice that this does let you very aggressively understand Agnes Tachyon and still probably be fine. 3rd to 4th, if you're pace chasing, is not the hardest thing to accomplish in the world. The fact at some point in the mid race, you will probably be somewhere here, right? Certainly, if there are way too many fronts, again, she can struggle to hit that. But it's not the hardest condition in the world, and it does give you the ability to understand her, and they put some target speed on it in the buff, right? So it's a good ult. It's a good ult. It's not a great ult, but it's a good ult, I think. She then also comes with standard distance, which is a little bit nice, right? She's a Dominator horse, and she comes with mostly medium skills, right? Medium straightaways, medium corners. It's not bad, right? She probably is at her best on those mediums, where everything kind of synergizes the best. You can pace her without worrying about it too much, and you can even try a Dominator strategy. Tactical tweak is unfortunately kind of ass, but she can get corner adept from her skills as well. Which one gives her that? Is it just like some random? Yeah, pressure of justice bottom hint gives her corner adept. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think her kit is fine, right? Her ult is good. Her aptitudes are good, and her stat growth is good, right? Agnes Tachyon is kind of just okay overall, which is rough because I don't have a slot for that. She doesn't feel underwhelming necessarily, right? I mean, I suppose she is just kind of okay. I suppose that means that you probably are going to have to do a lot of work to make her like a winning ace, right? Like she gives you a solid base, but you are going to have to provide a lot for her to get her to the point where she's winning races consistently, right? She just kind of gives you enough to go off of to get started, and she gives you some different strategies you can kind of try, right? I suppose just being kind of good baseline, then you have to come in with the rest of what you've got, probably means that she's great but hard to make work. But there's an argument for bottom of just great TBH. She strangely outperforms a lot. Maybe. I've not seen her outside of that one Agnes Tachyon that had like 200 stam on like in the Teto Show Autumn. That was a very fun look. I have not seen her be hugely impressive most of the time. Like when I've lost to Agnes Tachyons, it was like that Tachyon where someone like really planned a strategy out of how they were gonna do, like how they were gonna have her win, right? She's not bad baseline, but she's just lacking a little bit of oomph in her kit, I think. You're gonna have to find that somewhere else for her, either with like really good support cards or stuff like that. Though again, it is notable that this ult does open up strategies as far as stat spreads for you that most horses won't have access to. So it's quite nice. Winning ticket. Whining ticket. She's got aura though? Oh, I mean, this is an aura tier list. I'm watching beginning of a new era 2 days from now when it comes out. I'm going to Cineplex to watch that shit in theaters because I need to support the horse. I'm excited to watch Agnes Jacket on screen. If it was an aura tier list, she'd be like top 1 probably. Well, okay, hold on a minute. Have you watched Cinderella Grey? They give Tamamo. I mean, Ogre. You might think I was gonna say, have you watched Cinderella Grey? Ogre has so much aura. I mean, kind of, but like they give Tamamo so much fucking aura in that anime, man. They treat her like the devil, like she's fucking Broly from Dragon Ball Z, man. Like they're gonna tell you that you're gonna call her a monster, and she'll say, "I'm not a monster, I'm the devil," and then she's gonna fucking shoot lightning bolts into your eyes, and you're gonna die. But that's what she does. The sheer amount of aura they gave Tamamo in Cinderella Grey unironically made her my second favorite Uma. White Lightning, it is a little unfortunate that is her nickname, but it's still fun. Short people can't have aura. That's what I thought too, man. They did it though. They fucking managed it. They got me. Okay, this is a spoiler, I guess, if you haven't watched season 2, so I'm not gonna say it in detail. But the scene in the later parts of Cinderella Grey in that one race where she is counting down. Have you seen, like, oh my god. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. Where she's going 10, 9, 8, 7. Holy fuck, man. Right? If you've seen that shit, you know what I'm talking about. Like, Tamamo has aura. Tamamo has, like, the most aura of any horse in the anime. Right? In any of the anime. They never gave anyone more aura than that shit, man. Like, Tamamo is a horror movie. Like, they actually make her a horror movie monster. Cinderella Grey, for most of the runtime, feels like a horror movie where where Tamamo is the monster and everyone else is playing the survival horror. It's crazy. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about winning ticket. Winning ticket, 20% power, 10% stam. I'm not a huge fan of these growths, but, you know, we make it work. Opera O is pure aura. I gotta watch the beginning of a new era. I can't comment until then. But for now, I mean, Tamamo is, like, number 1 on the aura tier list by quite a while, I think. Can't run miles, realistically, right? Could, I guess, but it's rough. Really, she's a medium and long horse, right? She lates and she paces. Sure. Are tickets to win? I don't know what her ult does at all. If you were blocked on the sides for 2 seconds on the final corner, so someone was trying to pass you or you were trying to pass someone and it was taking a while, then on the final straight, if you're 5th or better, you get some target speed. Okay, this is not very good. This can be a bit of a tough condition, and the reward is not super great, right? Now, if you're late surging, by the time the final straight rolls around, even if you are late surging, this would probably be correct if you have any chance of winning at all. But yeah, this condition is a little rough, and this is not much of a payout for it. So ult, I would say, is kind of bad. Oh, she's the one that comes with hard worker, isn't she? Yeah. Firm conditions is nice. Steadfast is okay. Yeah, she comes with hard worker, which is just literally at any point in the fucking, at any point in the race, if you overtake someone, you get acceleration, which almost always will happen in the early race after you're done accelerating, or in the mid race when you don't need the acceleration. So this does nothing most of the time, unfortunately. This is a really bad excel. Maybe I'm missing something, but I've never seen hard work. I don't think I've seen hard worker pop once in a time that was worthwhile. Position Pilfer is nice. Late Surger Corners is nice. Fast and Furious is nice. The rest of her kit is quite nice, right? Gold Position Pilfer here, Fast and Furious. This is a great mid-race velocity skill. Late Surger Corners is a great mid-race velocity skill, right? So her kit overall is probably good. Hard Worker is a complete waste of a slot, but these are 2 real good ones. And she can get Late Surger straightaways and Nimble Nav and Slick Surge, right? I can't remember if this is all from one secret event. She gets Outer Swell from a secret event. I guess she gets the rest of them. Yeah, Nimble Nav from a choice. And Laser to straightaways and corners from a choice. Yeah. So overall, if you count this as part of her kit's actually quite good, right? You can grab Slick Surge. You can grab all the mid-race velocity you need. You can grab Nimble Nav. She has like a unique Nimble, not unique, but it's hard to get this without her, right? You need to run the Flower Power or Tamamo's Stam, which you are not going to do because why would you do that? So her kit's actually quite good overall. I'd say it's very good, right? Her ult is pretty awful. Her growths are and her aptitudes are fine. I don't know, man. I want to say that if it stopped here, if we stopped here, I would have put her in Oshi PvP. But unironically, her having access to so many, right? Her having so many good mid-race skills. I mean, again, late surgers, everyone does, right? But late surgers are no exception. They live and die off their mid race. A good mid race is often a 1 game. So her having this is some of the best. Honestly, I gotta look at some winning ticket every now and then. Maybe I don't have her, but like her having like the best mid race lineup of like any fucking late surger that I've seen is really nice. Right? Her ceiling is the floor. Yeah, she has no ceiling, but like her ceiling is the exact same as her floor, but that floor is pretty high. I don't know, man. Right? I mean, honestly, she might be like a hard to make work, right? Because you're going to have to, the problem with her is you're going to have to find her a strong win condition, right? And if you're on a track where on your left is not good enough, like if you're on a track where you're on like a longer track, which is, I mean, yeah, maybe she is highly situational, I don't know. She can only really run on those longer tracks, right? Where on your left is a little bit of a worse option, right? You're going to have to find some other win condition through her for inherits or something like that, right? I feel like if you're woke surging, you want a high ceiling to Gamba for. I kind of disagree. I think a lot of, like, again, as I've played more late surging, I found that the Gamba is basically there as a contingency plan if your mid race goes bad, right? But what you really want on late surgers is you want to have an exceptionally strong mid race and then just coefficient mog people from there, right? Which, I mean, to be fair, is easier to do on these longs and these mediums than it is on these miles. And on those miles, you have on your left to Gamba a little better. But I just feel like the fact that she doesn't inherently come with something particularly strong that you can build towards to help her win means you're going to have to find inherits for her. You're going to have to get, like, really nutty stats on her or something like that. You're going to have to find something special on her, right? Now, maybe, I think there's a solid argument, unironically, right? There's a solid argument that, like, all of this mid race is enough, but for it to for me to put her in just great based off of that entirely, she would need to have, like, more than this. Like, she would need to have Fast and Furious here, and, like, this would have to be Rising Dragon. You know what I mean? And then she can get late Surger corners, and she can get late Surger straightaways, and she can get Outer Swell. Well, these are all Outer Swell is the white version of Rising Dragon, right? But, like, she would need, like, another goated mid-race velocity skill for her to be in great just off of that, because she has really nothing else going for her. But again, I think it gives you a base, kind of like Tachyon. She has something special about her and just the sheer amount of mid-race you can stack on her to the point that it gives you something to build off of, right? Now, you're going to have to do some building, right? There's no just win con pre-jack tier for you. But if you can figure out that building, she'll do just fine. Sakura Bakushin O. I'm sorry for what they did to you. I guess, I don't know who got hurt harder by that, you or Chiono O. But regardless, that shit was not cool. I'm here to say, on behalf of everyone, that shit was not cool what they did to you, Bakushin. Bakushin's pretty solid, right? I mean, again, these are great growths for both a front and a pace. 20% speed, 10% wit. Nothing to really complain about there. She is basically only a sprint and mile horse. Good luck putting her on a medium or a long. She can't run dirts either. So aptitudes, I mean, if you can, to me, mile and medium together are generally the most common races. So, like, if you can't run both of those, it's a slight knock against you. But can you show us what they did? I don't think I'm going to do that. Now, her ult is pretty solid, right? It's a mid-race velocity skill. It's a consistent mid-race velocity skill, which if you're running her front is really good. It's very good. This is what you want. Like, again, you might go, that's a 0.35, but again, when we're talking about particularly front runners, consistent mid-race velocity, we fuck with that heavy, right? That's what gets us our Anglican scheming, right? That's what lets us pop that shit in the first place. So her ult is just halfway through the race. If you're third or more, right, and you're trying to pass someone or they're trying to pass you, it activates. Now this can be, again, blocked side, continue time 2, right? This can be a bit of a finicky condition, right? To be blocked from at least one side for 2 seconds. This doesn't always happen, but if you have, like, if there's like a slow pass happening, you know what I mean? Like someone just has one extra speed skill over you and they're like slowly passing you, this will activate. If someone gets like lucky on a downhill, right, it can activate. So it's just pretty like this being the only thing that needs to happen, because these two should probably be there by default if you're front running. Makes it consistent and then helps you fight for first. So it's a good ult. It's a good ult. It's a great ult, maybe. For fronts in particular, it's kind of a great ult. It does exactly what you would want an ult to do for a front runner, is help you fight for first place. So you can pop Anglican scheming and hold on to that lead you built up early on. So, fine aptitudes. Great growths, I would say. Pretty great ultimate. And as far as her kit, I mean, listen. Turbo Sprint is good. It's as good. It's, okay. It's not as good as accelerations get on a sprint, but it's an acceleration that works on sprints, and that tends to be really hard. But in general, I value things that are going to be good on sprints a little lower in general, because there's not that many of them, right? She has the same thing, countermeasure, staggering leads. All of her skills are kind of sprint-based, which is cool for her, I guess. But this is, I would call sprints situational. There are very few CMs that are sprints now and in the future as well, right? So, I mean, these are cool. Like, these are good skills. Turbo Sprint is good for sprints. It's as good as most things get, right? Staggering leads. You'd have to be 3 horse lengths ahead, which, I mean, this is not very good, probably. It's really hard to do this in a sprint, especially, right? You could maybe get this shit done. Blocking the lane is as good a defense as you can have in a race. I mean, the fact that if someone is trying to pass you, this says no is really nice, for sure, right? But yeah, this is hard to do on a sprint. Really hard to do. To be 3 horse length, like you have to be the only front runner, probably. In which case, you're probably going to die anyway. So it's not a very good skill, I don't think, in sprints. Turbo sprint's fine. But overall, I would call her kit a little underwhelming, right? Maybe even a little bad. Yeah, a little bad, right? So, I don't know. I think overall, though, I mean, if you want to build her as a front, she doesn't have really any groundwork triggers built in either, right? I mean, you can build her pace, certainly. But if you build her pace, then her ultimate gets a lot less consistent, especially if it's a track where fronts are good. Bakshin is interesting. Her ultimate is nice. Her ultimate is nice. Her growths are great. And at least, you know, on the races that you're running her, she's quite strong. But I feel like I want to call her situational. I mean, one, just the fact that she is mostly she's spec'd towards, like, if winning, she's spec'd towards doing that shit on sprints, which already makes, like, that situational in and of itself. If you want to talk about miles, she's probably a little underwhelming if you're trying to build a front Bakshin to win on miles. It probably gets a little rough to do, right? And even then, she's hard to make work because you have to find all of your groundwork triggers elsewhere, and obviously your groundwork itself, but I mean, no one else comes to that until Thanos, right? And she has no real mid-race skills to help you with that. Her ult can help mitigate this, but I think really Bakshin, you think of her as a sprinter, and you think that she's pretty good as a sprinter, right? Bakshin was certainly one of the best horses for the sprint CM, as a pacer primarily, right? Because there weren't that many fronts to begin with. But to me, if you're like just a sprint horse or just a dirt horse or something, that is situational, because those things, like, even more than like that is the same thing as like a super long or something like that. There's just not that many of those. All right, Super Furiku. Hello, Super Furiku. Similar idea to Agnes jacking it here, if I recall, right? Just is mostly entirely a pacer, right? 10% stam, not bad, I guess. 20% wit is actually quite nice. Yeah, she is very clever, right? They showed that in Cinderella Grey. No speed growth, again, always tough. But oh well, I suppose. Maybe the 20% wit growth means you can afford to bring 1 fewer wit card and just jam some more speed cards, so you can kind of make up for it, right? Decent growths, I would say, overall. 20% wit is quite nice. She is entirely a medium or long horse. You're not getting this bitch on mile or short at all. She has a huge recovery in Pure Heart right here, right? Which you have to be, it happens at a random point in the mid-race. You have to be 2nd to 4th, which is more forgiving than Agnes Tachyon, right? So this is what Agnes does in terms of letting you, well, what Tachyon does. There's multiple Agni. What Tachyon does in terms of letting you just understand and then go way more aggressive on like your speed or your power or your wit or something like that. Krieg kind of does even better, right? Krieg just does that even better because of the 0.75, like the 7.5 recovery here. On a medium, this means, again, like you can basically just trip into your stamina requirement, and on a long, especially with the 10% stamina, you are going to be able to just, again, be significantly more aggressively stammed, right? Which, again, this can lead to you. Here's the one thing for her and Tachyon, right? Stat mogging is one thing, but as I feel like as I've gotten more familiar with this game, while stats are certainly important, at the end of the day, I often find that right now in Alharu, and it'll become even more the case, I think, as we go on to Track Blazer and whatever, it's much more important what skills you have than what stats you have, right? If you can go like 200 less stam on Creek, and that means compared to someone else, and that means you can have like, you know, say they're already capping their speed, but maybe you can cap your speed while also having like 100 more power and 100 more wit or something compared to that other guy. That's good. That's very meaningful, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not popping like really important skills, right, whether they're accelerations or mid races or something else, the guy with worse stats and better skills is often going to win unless that gap is tremendously large, right? So what Creek lets you do is a strategy. It's a strategy, and it's a strategy that can work. But this kind of just like, I get to understand and then aggressively, right? I get to understand and then I get to be very aggressively statted everywhere else, and I can just stat mog people, is not a strategy that I'm a super big believer in, right? Which is why I have Tachyon here and hard to make work. And it's kind of the same thing with Creek, The only difference is that, yeah, her skills are not very good, right? Ramp up is nice. Ramp up is nice, right? But unfortunately, this is also one that you get for free if you're doing your Haru run correctly, right? This is pretty garbage. This is pretty garbage. And Maestro is, I mean, it is nice because you don't have to, like, if you want to run another, if you're running a stamina card on a super long, I mean, honestly, on Creek, why are you doing that, I guess? But you can run a stamina card that gives good hits instead of a stamina card that gives you a gold recovery or something. It's cool, I guess, right? Certainly, she has all of your she has all of your stamina requirements built into her kit. Maestro plus Pure Heart. You can go onto a you can go into like the Kika show with like 600 stamina or less probably, and probably less, right? And be fine if you're popping both of these. So you know, you don't have to worry about where I'm getting my stamina from at all with Creek. That is nice. She does get prepared to pass out of, I think, this is her secret event? Yes, yeah. Less, especially with wits. Yeah. So again, it is, I like what Creek is going for here, and she is better at it than Tachyon is, I think. But the strategy of, I was a believer in this until recently, right? And I still am a believer in it. I just don't think that it's as good as I thought it was. The strategy of, I'm gonna aggressively understand and then just out like stat mog people is getting harder and harder to do as people just start hitting good stats anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this was a better strategy in URA, probably, when hitting your stamina thresholds and still getting good stat lines was way harder. A lot of people are, like, you know, hitting their stam thresholds without needing a recovery ult, and they're still, like, maxing their speed and hitting, like, S rank and another stat, you know? So while I do think it is still meaningful, and again, it means that getting a good stat line on Creek is significantly more consistent than on other racers, which matters, because again, CM, building horses for CM is entirely pulling the lever on the slot machine until you get the high roll, right? So the fact hitting your stat thresholds is one of the aspects, one of the fucking lanes that spins in the slot machine. The fact that that's easier to do on her is good, right? And the strategy of, like, I'm going to try and stat mog you is a valid strategy, but I don't think it's a great one. I don't think it's one that I can just go, Creek can stat mog people and therefore boom. You're going to have to find something else to supplement that with. Especially because it really is, like, she's very spec'd into this. She has none good skills, man. Like, you can get prepared to pass, I guess, which is nice, but she has none good skills at all. So you have to find all of the skills and all of the accelerations somewhere else, which kind of, you know, now it's like, oh, it's really easy to hit my stat thresholds, but now I've introduced a secondary layer of RNG in terms of, like, okay, now I have to go get all of those hints or inspirations or whatever, right? Haru, our daughter. Hello, Haru. I love you, Haru. How are you doing, Haru? Haru, let me just, am I wrong about this? I don't think we have to talk about this for too long, but yeah, I mean, those are pretty bad aptitudes, or pretty bad growths. I mean, she can't run any turf races at all, which, unfortunately, it's nice that she's Dirt A, but almost all races are still turf races, right? I mean, she can run mile or sprint dirts really easily. She's a late surger or an end closer primarily. The problem is that Haru is a mile sprint horse with a stamina recovery ultimate, right? So her ultimate essentially does nothing, I fear. And then, I mean, she has Iron Will. Listen, don't make me do this, right? I'm putting Haru at the top of the tier list, okay? Don't make me do this. Haru is the best, okay? Haru is top one. We're not doing I think she's probably going to be the only person in Haru is our daughter tier, but don't make me fucking sit here and actually give you an analysis on why Haru is not very good. What are you, a fucking monster? Why do you want me to do this? She tries her best, exactly, and that's why she'll always be top one in my heart. Okay. Madafaka. I actually typed in Madafaka. I'm so cooked. I typed in Madafaka and not Machikane Fukikitaru. That's insane. I typed Madafaka into the search bar. Again, you know, she's a long horse. So the 20% stamina growth, even on a long, I think I would rather the speed growth. But it can be good on those really long longs, right? 10% power, it would not be my bet for what I want 10% on. If I'm rocking this, I would love like a 10% speed or a 10% wit here. I will call these growths fine. She can, however, run miles, mediums, and longs, which is nice. And she can late or pace. Again, this is a nice one to straddle, right? Because paces are kind of frontliners and lates are backliners. Like, sometimes there are CMs and certain lobby compositions that are likely based on the meta and stuff that will favor backliners, and sometimes will favor frontliners. So it's nice to be able to kind of go in between both of these, right? Call it fine motion. Yep. Her ult is in the late race, if you are third or worse and you are blocked from the front, you get speed and excel. Now, here's the weird part. I don't know what this means. Checks if you're currently being blocked by someone in front of you. This is the same. This is the blocked side. This is the mystifying murmur condition as well, right? It needs you to be blocked from a side. This is not just. This is a stricter condition than, you know, oh, someone within a length of me or something like that. I think this is literally like, you know what happens when you run into someone and like you stop moving, right? Because you can't you literally like it kind of your horse will straight up change their path because someone's in their way. That's where it is to be blocked, right? Like you're trying to lane change and you can't lane change because someone to your left. That's what it means to be blocked from the side, I think. So this is like a bit of a tough condition, right? Like for reference, if we go look at Nimble Navigator, it's probably the closest thing to this, right? Nimble Nav is in front near lane time, which again is also an easier condition. This is just having an Uma 2.5 meters ahead of you and no more than one lane to the left of you, right? So the Nimble Nav condition that you might consider doesn't always proc, this is a stricter condition than that. So the condition's kind of tough. However, when it activates, you get 0.1 excel, which is, you know, not very good. If this activates late, right, then I guess you can get the target speed, which will be a lot better. But, you know, if we're past the final corner in the late race, where we're already fully accelerated, you're almost certainly not blocked from the front. Yeah? And if you are, you probably lost that race. So this is a 0.1 excel, really. Here comes Lucky 7, though, and Illusionist, and Super Lucky 7. You know what I mean? She gets Slick Surge, at least. Like, this is literally the thing saving her from the Haru tier, I think. She gets Slick Surge, which is nice. Ironically, she's way better as a support card. Yeah, she might be worse than Special Week. That's crazy. No offense to Machikane Fukikitaru stance. She's awesome. I love her, but there's, like, nothing here, huh? Like, she just has Special Week's ult, but worse, and otherwise it's the same card. And Special Week, like, at least Special Week's kit has In Body and Mind in it. I don't like In Body and Mind, but it's better than Illusionist and Super Lucky 7. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's, I think, the worst we've looked at so far. That's pretty rough. Nice Unecha des. Hello there. Let's do Nice Nature, King Halo, and Opera, and then we'll probably call it there. Just because I am a hungry boy, I need to eat. Nice Nature. You're so nice, Nature-san. So Nice Nature is 20% power, 10% wit. Again, I would call these fine growths. 20% power, it can be nice to ignore ignore power entirely and just mash 3 speed cards on her. And like Ryan, the fact that she has 10%. If this was 20% power and like 10% stam or guts, it'd be really rough. The 10% wit again means that you can just maybe get 1 wit card off your setup and put another speed card on there, and like with 3 speed, you should be fine. And then again, you can just ignore power entirely. You can even throw some speed sparks if you want, because with 20% power, just clicking speed is going to give you more than enough power for almost every track, right? Turf, obviously, long, medium, mile is nice. She can late or pace, which again is a nice spread to have. Her ultimate in the late race, if you are exactly third, because he's the bronze collector, and there's someone 1 length behind you, you get some speed. I mean, this is... The problem with this is that if you're a pace chaser, this is probably going to activate before you're fully accelerated a lot of the time and be a waste. If you are a late surger, this is probably better, right? This is probably better if you're a late surger. If you're third, you are like going up to thirds. You're probably mostly accelerated, and if you're not mostly accelerated and you're third as a late surger, you've already won, so it's fine, right? And you get some target speed. It's not bad. As a pace, it's probably pretty bad. As a late, it's probably just a consistent little ender, right? Because on your way, this is assuming you are on your way to passing to first, you will be in third at some point, and there probably will be someone behind you, or it'll pop. Not the worst condition, just not free. It's not like a guaranteed activation or anything like that. You won't always have it when you need it, and again, it's a 0.35. So it's fine, right? And then, of course, Nice Nature is the debuffer, the Sukuna. Again, this can work. Nice Nature can be easy to build. You can help You know, if you want to dedicate a lot of time to your CM, then she could, building a couple debuffers and an ace will be worse, a lot worse than building 3 aces, but it'll be a lot easier, right? But by and large, I have found it as time has gone on, even if the stamina thresholds are a meaningful thing a lot of the time, I've found it significantly better to build 3 Umas that win than to build 1 or 2 Umas that win and 1 or 2 Umas that make the other guys lose. You know what I mean? Now, you can build Ace Nice Nature. I've seen it before. I've lost to one before, but it is the definition of Oshi PvP. Yes? I mean, for the debuffer stuff, I'll put her like right below Air Groove maybe, just because she at least has a role, like some situational utility there. But like this is Oshi PvP incarnate, right? This character is not designed to win by the devs, but you can make it work. She at least has an ult that does something. Her growths aren't the worst, right? But it's Oshi PvP for sure. You have to bring everything. That she doesn't have an acceleration either. I mean, honestly, yeah, like on her own merits, she's definitely like here. But just for the debuffer privilege, I'll put her a little bit higher up, right? But I just don't think the debuffing strategy is that good, really. It's just easy. King Halo. She gets done really dirty in the special week anime, right? I feel like they just show King Halo losing most of the time. Now King Halo only has the 1G1 win, but like we need to see her winning something. Unless debuffing becomes real Oshi PvP for sure. Yeah. King Halo. Man, are we even halfway through or not? Maybe we won't even get this done tomorrow. I gotta fucking move. I gotta move faster. Growths, 10%, 20% power, 10% guts. Remember when we were looking at Nice Nature and I was like, if this 20% power had like 10% guts or stam, I'd be way more sad. Yeah, I'm way more sad. These are bad growths, I would say. But oh well. I guess it could be worse. It could be 20% guts, 10% growth, like Rice Shower. She can run everything, which is nice, except for dirts, right? She runs sprints and miles and mediums and longs. She can late or pace, which again is a nice spread to have. Her ultimate, Prideful King, right? With 200 meters left in the race, if you've never been rushed so far, and you are 4th to 6th, then you get target speed. That is slightly worse pulse. Let's fucking go! Probably, I mean, significantly worse pulse, probably. Because if you're 4th to 6th with 200 meters left, something has gone wrong, right? You're probably not winning that race. Like you might go, oh, well, this is a bigger, but yeah, this is something has gone wrong here. 200 meters left and you're in 4th. Like you better hope that everything is real clustered together, right? Otherwise, you're probably just not gonna win this, even when it pops. If this activated like 2nd to 6th, then we could talk. It would just be slightly worse pulse because if you got rushed, you wouldn't get it. This is just bad pulse, I fear. So a bit of a tough draw there. Would I call this? So if pulse is like the baseline for like great, is this good? Probably still not, right? Because again, it's this on top of these. It's just hard. It's hard. The effect is strong. This is tough, right? So the ult I would say is, pretty bad. She does have Blinding Flash, which is a skill that I've never understood. Because they for a while it was just target speed, wasn't it? They like just added the acceleration in the big patch with Haru. But if you're in the on your left conditions in specifically a sprint, then you get 0.1 excel at a random point in the late race. By the way, this is on your left, but it's 1/4 the strength. I don't know, man. It's very odd. This is a very bad skill. Even in the sprint CM, this wasn't worth taking, right? I run the King Halo power card that drops this, and even in the sprint, I didn't do it in the sprint CM to be fair, but if it did, I wouldn't have taken it, right? W 360 points. I mean, I guess it's only 320, but yeah, this is a really bad skill, I fear. Unyielding Spirit is nice, but then she has the bigger picture, right? And Outer Swell is good. Yeah, right? Her ult is pretty bad. Her growths are pretty bad. She has one of the best aptitude spreads in the game, for what it's worth. She just can't run dirt, right? But yeah, bad ult, bad growths, bad kits. Tough career as well, right? Tenno Show, no, she doesn't have Tenno Show Spring in here. Does she? No, she has the Kika Show. Not quite as bad. But yeah, man, this is some serious Oshi PvP right here for sure. Some serious Oshi PvP. LeBron James, aka My Sunshine, aka Century Overlord of Century's End, aka LeBron James again, aka TM Opera O Original, aka Rise and Shine Sweet Doto. These growths are not my favorite. Plus, her mom doesn't believe in her. Damn. That is true. That's probably the roughest part of King Halo's career, honestly. These ghosts are okay. I mean, again, he's a long horse primarily. She can run miles, right? But yeah, 20% stam, 10% wit, we'll take it, right? It's not the worst thing in the world, but they're fine, right? I'll call these fine. They could be, there are like several configurations I can think of that will be better. Almost all of them involving some amount of speed, probably. But oh well, right? But again, if you don't have speed growth, in the Aoharu meta at the very least, if you don't have speed growth, you better have wit growth, essentially, right? Because if you have wit growth, then I can bring maybe one fewer wit card and jam another speed card in there, and then we're chilling, right? I'm sure in Track Blazer this will be different, but if you don't have speed growth, you better damn well have wit growth, and she has wit growth, so we'll take it. Her aptitudes, again, she can run mile, medium, and long. She can also run dirts, which is interesting, right? So pretty solid aptitude spread. Though you probably don't want to be, like, you would rather not put this many sparks into surface. It can be worth it, but you certainly much rather do it into distance, right? And the problem with dirts in particular is they're usually miles, so you'd have to get E and E, so she can't really run dirts. It's kind of fake news, right? This dance is for Vittoria. This used to be garbage, and now if I recall, it's only bad. Final corner. Well, it's not bad. It's situational. It's situationally okay, which I guess is bad, probably. Final corner, if there's someone a length behind you, and you're fourth or better, or final corner, if there's someone a length in front of you and you're fourth or better, you get some target speed. This condition's pretty easy, right? If you're pacing her, especially, this condition will almost always be true. And if you are late surging and it's on a longer track or you'd want to be late surging, then this will probably also be true by the late race if that race had any hope of you winning it in the first place, right? So this ult is not as bad as before. It's like twice as good as what? It's 3 times. It was like, didn't you need to be blocked from all sides for this one before? This was like unpoppable. Like this would never activate. And now the condition's pretty easy. It's just that the ult itself is not very good, right? There's also a lot of tracks where if the final corner, it happens early into the race on a lot of those mediums, which is her primary aptitude, next to long, right? On a lot of those medium tracks, this ult is often going to pop too early and do nothing, right? So it's a little tough. So this ult overall, I would say, is not very good because it is situationally okay. That's not good. You better be okay all the time or be situationally great. Situationally okay? That's a tough one, right? That's a tough one. Like Rudolph ult, situationally amazing. This is going to be situationally on like a really long track. It'll be fine. It'll be good. It's still not as good as Rudolph ult in that case, right? Because of the 0.35 versus 0.45. It makes a difference, right? Makes a difference. I was talking about here, 15 seconds of 0.45 is almost 3 lengths. 15 seconds of 0.35 is barely more than 2, right? Now I might go, he's 1.5 meters. What's the difference? 1.5 meters is like a whole extra like acceleration skill popping, damn near, right? Well, not acceleration skill, a whole extra like velocity skill popping. So it does make a bit of a difference. She does, however, come with Speed Star. This is kind of what the redemption a little bit. She has Speed Star on her. She has Straightaway Adept on her, right? She has Killer Tunes on her. So on those medium tracks where her ult is worse, right? She does have like 2 really good gold skills, and Speed Star is also really good for longs as well. So she's got some good mid-race velocity built into her kit. I don't know if that's enough to make her not OG PvP though. You know what I mean? Her growths are fine. Her aptitudes are fine. Her ult is pretty bad. And her kit is good, right? Her kit's pretty good. I feel like that just having a couple of good mid-race velocity skills in there is not quite enough though, right? Like I got winning ticket in great but hard to make work here because she has like 4 good mid-race velocity skills and the key acceleration of her strategy all built in, but her ult kind of sucks. I feel like TM Opera O is on the higher end of OG PvP, probably. There's a little bit of OG PvP, will be my guess, right? Yeah. Rest in peace, LeBron James. I'm sure when the Evo patch comes in, she'll be a lot better. Anyways, my stomach is rumbling up something fierce, so I gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna hang out with a buddy at 9, and I want to give myself some time to eat, so I'm gonna do that. You're gonna walk out of that theater calling her the GOAT? I already, my buddy who, I have 2 friends who I forced Umamusume upon, who are going to be watching the movie with me, because we got all the way through the anime together, both times. And yeah, TM Opera O, I believe, is his Oshi now, so he's gonna have a good time, I'm sure. We made it to the first banner. Yeah, we did how many? We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 out of 67. We didn't even get halfway through. I'm going to have to move a little quicker next time. If we want to get this done tomorrow, I didn't think we were going to do this both days. I was banging this out. I forgot how much I love yapping about this game. we've established a lot of what is good and what is bad. Okay, we can move. We could like there's not gonna be too many people who are entirely unique from what is previously passed. There'll be slightly better or worse versions of what we've already ranked. So we can certainly move quicker tomorrow, right? Coolest, surely, coolest, surely. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day, fellas. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna go eat some food. See you tomorrow for I didn't think so, but apparently see you tomorrow for the rest of this fucking thing. This is still good though. I feel like I am like, you know, I'm analyzing a lot of these kits in a way that I haven't before, right? So it is still, this was primarily designed to be like a learning experience for me, and that is what's happening, right? Might take a third stream, I guess. I'm gonna try to make that not the case, but we shall see. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go out, start a book club with your neighbors, or a D&D game, or play Spin the Bottle or something. I don't know. Don't do anything fucking freaky, man. But embed yourself in your community, make some friends. It's a good time. Keep yourself safe. Literally, not as in like an acronym for you ending your own life. And I will see you tomorrow for more tier listing. Peace. The sun.